Holy shit.
God damn.
Oh, my God. Welcome to Fat Man on Batman on Kevin Smith.
I am Marc Bernardin.
Hey! We are, as always, live right here at the Scum and Villainy Cantina on Hollywood Boulevard in Hollywood, California. Put your hands together so the audience at home knows you're real. And we really are. It feels very Scum and Villainy right now. Dead ahead of me. Hopefully they'll cut to a shot of it or something. But if you're not here in the room, you're really fucking missing something special. I know he's got like a technical name, but I always knew him as the figure that I bought, Hammerhead. Hammerhead is here with us today from A New Hope. Or the best damn cosplaying version of Hammerhead I've ever seen. What was his name when they gave him a real name? Does anybody know? See, Hammerhead's so much better.
Fuck that.
And in space, they wouldn't bother to fucking be like, what's your name? They'd just be like, he looks like a fucking hammer. So I always bought that. But that's wonderful, man. Is it a tough, uncomfortable cosplay? Are you committed to staying in it all show? Sure. It's a 2-hour show. I mean, I know I'm cosplaying as Silent Bob, but I mean that seems like a much heavier costume. All right, as a guy who likes a performance, I admire your commitment to the performance, man. That's the best acting I've seen since like fucking ever. Maybe since Justin Long was like, yeah, I'll be the walrus. Like it's on par with that shit. Well done. All right, man, that just warms my heart. I'll be honest with you, I'm stoned enough to say this. I fucking love doing this show here. I love this space. I love the show, but the show fucking really blew up for me when we found this space, and we didn't find it. JC built it and stuff. So I love coming here, and the other night I was just tooling around with my kid in the car. Like, my wife sent us out, and she's like, you got to take her to Westwood. And so there was a plan to go to Westwood and then go to like fucking Dave & Buster's maybe on the way back. And then we flipped it and went to Dave & Buster's. We just wound up hanging out. And like she kind of likes doing what I do. Like I drive up in the hills, the Hollywood Hills and stuff. I love the view over Mulholland. And so as I was driving around and I just listened to music and shit with her, she goes, oh, this is where I hang out with my friends. And I'm like, I always pass here in Couples Park and like make out. And she's like, yeah, that's me. And I was like, holy fuck. I was like, this is amazing. So at one point, like I was sitting here blowing up the bar to her. I was like, fucking JC's bar is amazing, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, can we go? And she's 18 and stuff. So I called JC, man, and be like, hey, like, are you working tonight? And he's like, no, but you come to the bar because there's, what is it, all ages till 9 o'clock or some such shit on some nights? Yeah. Till 9. So what does that mean for the folks at home? Like, if they just wanted to come and drink soda, that's what happens till 9? Is that what all ages means? Yeah. Or eat. So, like, for people like, I would love to bring my kid, but my kid's fucking 9. There's a period to come where you can just eat food, take pictures and shit like that? Yeah. Genius.
Unless your kid is Drew Barrymore, in which case she'll be here to drink.
That's true. Drinking, smoking. We've all seen the pictures. So I said, I'm going to roll up on the bar. And God bless her, either she is a really good actress or she had never been to a bar before. Like, she was like a kid out of a movie where it's like, I've come from space. And I'm like, let's go to a bar. And she's like, people do this? Like, gather and look how happy they are. And the music is fun. She was either that or her performance was pitch perfect. And she's like, Dad, I'm 18. I've been to many fucking bars. But she loved the place. She's like, is this what a bar is like? And I was like, no, not at all. Oh my God, Christ, no. I've been to many fucking bars with Uncle Jason back in the day, and they are not fucking cool like this. Like, this space is chill, man. That night, we didn't even have a show here. It was me coming to the bar just to kind of show it off to her and stuff. And the crowd was like really wonderful, and they were playing like fucking music from like, I think they were playing, from Pretty in Pink. I touch you once, I touch you twice, I came in with my teenage daughter. I was like, this couldn't be more perfect, This is unbelievable. So I love this place with all my heart. I think it's such a fucking good idea, and I'm happy for JC and Jen and this whole crew that it's taken off. This was meant to be like a pop-up experience.
Here and gone.
And it's legit. Like, it's got a home on Hollywood Boulevard. You know how fucking hard it is to open anything in California? Let alone this town? Awesome. All right, so enough blowing the fucking bar. We're just coming off of Thanksgiving, and we're heading toward another holiday, which we'll talk about in a minute. How was your Thanksgiving?
My Thanksgiving was awesome, except for the fact that Thanksgiving morning, my oven shot the bed.
How?
It just stopped working. Yeah, you can have that.
Thank you. I saw you got the real thing.
I got my go-go juice. You can have that. Yeah, it just shot the fucking bed, and we're sitting there with a 20-pound turkey and my in-laws, and we're ready to rumble, and we have no oven.
That's the nightmare scenario.
That's the nightmare.
What happens? What do you do?
Well, first there was tears, and then there was rage, and then there was kicking the oven like Fonzie, hoping maybe it would work. And then there was a neighbor who said, "Hey, you can use our oven. We're going out for Thanksgiving." So,
oh my God, this is like a Hallmark Channel movie.
It seriously is.
Like shit just worked out. That's beautiful.
It's like there's a fucking barn, and we're gonna have a baby in their barn. They were totally cool with it. No, they invited us in, and we invaded their oven. And I baked on my grill, which you can actually do. I baked an apple pie on my grill.
That's a thing? You can actually.
Yeah, I mean,
do you have to change anything?
Nope.
Just flat out turn on your grill to like 350 and put a pie on?
You turn on one side of your grill to 350, you put the pie on the other side of the grill. So, and you just keep it closed for like 2 hours, and you'll have a fucking pie at the end of that.
Necessity being the mother of invention.
I
learn how
MacGyvered the shit out of
You really did, yes. That's fucking impressive. I would have been the other guy going, we're all going to Taco Bell.
Hello, El Pollo Loco. You
Totally.
delivered today.
I dream of going to a restaurant on Thanksgiving. Like I think that sounds cool. I know people who do it, and I'm like, ooh, that sounds cool and classy. But I do like the idea of leftovers, and I'm packed with them. I fucking easily gained 15 pounds in 2 days eating as much fucking Thanksgiving turkey, mashed potatoes, and I just kept making the sandwich, the traditional sandwich. Like when, I love the meal itself, but then later on the sandwich is like 2 pieces of the whitest ass white bread on the planet, fucking turkey, gravy, and mashed potatoes. Some people put on dressing, but why the fuck would you put jelly on mashed potatoes? I take that sandwich, I'd rather eat than fuck, I'll be honest with you, when it comes to the post-Thanksgiving sandwich, man. And nobody wants to fuck me post-Thanksgiving because I'm all tryptophaned out like, oh.
You could fuck the sandwich.
There's no way. I would never abuse a sandwich like that. And pie. I'd stayed away from sugar, but my mother-in-law, Gail, makes an amazing coconut custard pie. And so like I was like, I'll take a little piece, which turned into half a pie, which turned into me on Saturday night going, can you make another pie? And then me trying to finish that pie before the Sunday cutoff, which becomes Monday, where I'm like, now it's time to diet again. But that's not the big holiday. That's the fucking over with, man.
Yeah, we're done with that.
The big holiday coming up is on Wednesday. Tell them what it is, Marc Bernardin.
It's my birthday.
Yes. Now, what are you saying what birthday it is, or are you being coy?
I'm 46.
46.
I will be 46. I'm 45.
Now, so last birthday, had you written on the show yet?
No.
So you start. So this birthday,
this has been a hell of a year, man.
Big year for you, man.
A big year. Next year can only go downhill from here.
I was kind of being a little more hopeful about it and shit. Like, these are the beginning of good times. You're like, it'll never get better than this shit.
We're moving into an RV, honey. It's over.
You got any wisdom for the folks on your big 40?
Just 6? Fucking, it's never too late.
Happy birthday to you. Free song. Happy birthday to you.
Public domain.
Happy birthday, Marc Bernardin. I'm going to eat that Twinkie. Happy birthday to you. Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, thank you, everybody. You're too fucking sweet. Thank you, Melissa. Yay.
Make a wish, blow out the candles, man. Good folks here at the bar gave Marc an assortment of Hostess cakes
and this
with
dude's got a fucking
lightning
gift bag.
And a gift bag? Holy shit. You're getting gifts as well. Blow out the candles, make a wish.
Okay, hold on.
Don't wish for a better co-host. Hey, it's going to come true. Now you were giving a bag. Nathan, did you give him a bag? What's in it? Why don't you? What is that? Chianti?
Chianti. Are there fava beans in here too?
A 20-year-old Chianti? Wow. Fucking, you rate.
Pez, sweet.
Green Lantern Pez, Hal Jordan.
Sam and Twitch.
Oh,
Research.
fingers crossed.
And a postcard. Oh, thank you.
Is he allowed to read it out loud, or is it like intimate, like Marc, I want to see your dick?
All right, hold on.
There you go.
Please enjoy this wine that has hopefully aged as well as you have. May it serve as inspiration for future projects or as celebration for ones completed. You rock the multiverse. Your spider friend, Nathan Zales.
Oh, Nathan.
Thank you, Nathan. That's very sweet.
It's not creepy that Nathan and I are literally dressed the same this evening. You look like mini-me. Much minier me. What are you going to do on the actual day?
I'm going to continue to eat my face off.
Fucking A.
As is my wont. I will write, because the fuck else am I going to do? I may play some video games, because now I got no responsibilities. I got no job to go to. So, hey, I'm going to eat and write and play video games. I might not even get dressed.
Sounds like the ideal birthday.
Yes. Maybe get some maternity pants, just to make more room.
You call them maternity pants. I call them pants.
But yeah, no, it's been a really good year. It's been a year of not being afraid of shit. It's been a year of realizing that it's actually never too late. You know, that there is no age limit, no statute of limitations on dreams.
Fucking A.
And just fucking reach for it, man. Every now and again, you'll grab it. More often than not, you'll fall flat on your face, but that's okay.
And remind them the leap that you had to make.
I left what was at the time a 20-year journalism career as a editor and writer and pop culture, blah, 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 to become a TV writer, to be a dude who gets to make the shit up as opposed to writing about the shit that other people make up.
A key difference. And also, the move was a big thing as well. You were Jersey, well, an East Coaster. Are you Jersey? You were living in Jersey.
I was living in Jersey, yeah.
But you weren't born in Jersey. You were born.
Nah, I was born in Boogie Down Bronx, baby. Yeah.
Boogie Down Production. So wait, born in Bronx, but you were living in Jersey, and you had to make a decision to move out here to do it?
It was, you know, it was the Trojan horse. The Hollywood Reporter moved me out here, knowing full well that I was going to leave them like in a hot minute if I got a better job. And it was a big deal pulling my family out from the sort of warm bosom of New Jersey and bringing them out to Los Angeles, which they did not like at first because it's Los Angeles.
Marc's lady is literally from my neck of the woods.
Yes.
Like she went to a high school that was in our basketball division.
Totally. Like she would remember watching your movies and say, that clown is on the wrong side of the street.
Yeah.
That's bullshit. Like, oh, yeah, there's Bethany Drive. I know where Bethany Drive is from.
Yeah, that's right, man. She could point out errors and shit. When you put a movie together, you're like, well, this just makes sense editorially. But you don't think about, like, I'm from here and anyone will give a shit. Because I'm the only pedantic person from that area who would be like, ooh, that's wrong. But thanks to the internet, everybody is that fucking pedantic person. And so not even just locals told me the clown's on the wrong fucking side. It's like people who's like, I'm not even from there and I know the clown's on the wrong fucking side.
I Google Earth that shit.
Yeah, it's true, man. Google's fucking defeating me.
Yeah. Yeah, man, but just every now and again you gotta sack up and do the thing that scares you the most. And every now and again, it'll pay off.
That's a big move too, man. It's one thing when you do it solo. Moving an entire family and whatnot is a big commitment. You got some support there.
Indeed. Good people.
Yeah.
And you're all lovely also. Did you think I was lying?
We're all stuck on you calling your family good people.
Good people. There's plenty of
What
good
did
people.
I write down? I have to write shit down because, this is important to fucking say. George Carlin told me that. George Carlin, not that thing. George Carlin said, write everything down. I was like, why? And he goes, number one, you've become a stoner. He goes, but number two, he's going, that is the key to every piece of success I've ever had is something I've written down. Because all the shit that I forgot to write down, he's going, I could have been much better at what I do and stuff. So I always remember to write shit down now. One of the things we have to talk about is next week we have a show here on Monday. Is that correct?
Tuesday the 5th.
On the 5th. So tickets will be on sale by the time you hear this. But here's a non-ticketed free way to see the show, 2 days later?
On the 7th, yeah.
there's a benefit. For those who've never been out here. Even if you've never been out here, you probably saw way back in the day when the Star Wars movies were being, those
First
prequels.
released.
Well, I think they did it back in the. I guess you're right.
Back in like 77, 78. But then when the special editions came out,
They kind of redid it again.
Yeah.
Fuckers used to line up for months at a time outside of what was then Groman's Chinese Theater and later on Mann's Chinese Theater and now the TCL Chinese Theaters. And, that's where the footprints are in the cement and all that shit. Right on Hollywood Boulevard. Line up for Star Wars. The one that I remember I lived here for was
99.
Yeah, the prequels. When the prequels came out, there were a line of people like literally fucking hanging out outside for months. They built little tents and shit like that. So I love that. That shows big commitment. I'd never fucking do it. I like showering. So I didn't, but I can respect people that make that kind of commitment and whatnot. And they always wound up on the news and shit. Like it was really a spectacle. So, and in a good way. So now, and this is something I literally just learned in the alley before the show began. You don't have to do that anymore.
No, advanced sales, and you can pick your seat, and you can buy that shit months in advance if you want.
I had no idea.
But they're still lining up.
They are, but for a different reason. Not because they're like, we have to, because they're like,
This is what we do.
Yeah, like
Tradition.
Choice. We choose to do this.
Yes.
Symbolic. It ties into when they did it back in the 90s, late 90s, for the prequels and stuff. But I was just baffled. I'm like, seriously? You don't have to do that? And they're like, just go online and buy a ticket, dick. And I'm like, is that how you do it? Why do you have to be so hostile? So, yes.
I had a right to be hostile.
Yes, that was Marc. So the Starlight Children's Foundation is the beneficiary of the good folks who are lining up again in front of the Chinese Theater in advance of The Last Jedi, which comes out on December 14th.
Right.
Am I correct? What? Could be
It's the night of the 14th. Official opening date is Friday the 15th.
That's
but
true.
yes.
Absolutely. But, who knew? Hey, someone else is fucking pedantic. Way to be. That's right. It does come out on the 15th. That's what the posters say. But Thursday is officially opening night, so the 14th and
Midnight showings at 6 p.m.
We're splitting Wookiee hairs at this point. In advance of that, these good folks are lining up again. They're going to spend 2 weeks out in front of the Chinese Theater. A lot of the people from the original group. And they do it now to raise money for the Starlight Children's Foundation. So apparently what they're doing is, since they're lining up, every night they've got some shit going on for the people lined up.
A little entertainment.
Little
distraction.
And we are going to be part of the entertainment. So they asked us, December 7th is the first night of the lineup event, to do Fat Man on Batman. This is where it gets fucking cool. In the courtyard of the Chinese Theater. They're going to build a little stage, and we just sit there on footprints, as Marc said, what?
Standing on the footprints of giants.
And do this fucking show. So that happens on December 7th. Anybody can go. It's free, right?
I think you could just fucking walk up and watch if you want.
And what we're going to do, though, we'll pass the hat, though, for the Starlight Children's Foundation. So bring cash. And if you're like, hey, I don't have any cash, don't worry. We'll take credit cards as well. And raise a little money for those cats while we're there. So free show. 2 days after the show that you pay for to see here, we'll go down the street and do a free show, a special show. It has to be very Star Wars centric.
I think so.
That's what these cats are lined up for. We can't get up there and be like, hey, what'd you think of Justice League? They're like, fuck you. I'm giving up 2 weeks of my life for kids and Star Wars. Talk about fucking Nine Numb. People are like, Nine Numb. Yeah, man. All right. Enough deep cuts jokes. That happens December 7th. There's no way to buy tickets. I can't send you to a website. But you just show up. You can watch the show.
I'm imagining 8 p.m. standard roll time, and come on over.
We're
on the street.
We're literally on
jokes.
the street. And it's not just us. Like, there's a few nights where they're like, now they're doing virtual reality. Like, Dave and Buster's is bringing down Star Wars themed video games. Like, every night they're kind of providing entertainment and shit. And I was like, oh shit. So this is like when, like, the USO has entertainers come over. Like, they're like the USO, and me and Marc are like Bob Hope and shit like that. So it's kind of like what it is, man.
Which one of us is Marilyn Monroe?
You, for sure. So I guess that's going to happen next week. What is that, Thursday, Wednesday?
Thursday, December 7th.
Beautiful. So mark your calendars. Come on out and see the show.
Bring a coat.
And bring why? You think it'll be fucking chilly?
I don't fucking know.
It
I mean, last week was 140 degrees in Los Angeles, and today it's 50 degrees. So I don't know. Hot hail could be coming next Thursday.
It is inexplicable.
Swamp ass.
It's the screenplay I was working on just before I got here. Swamp ass.
There's a swamp ass front coming in off the water, heading west.
What was I going to say? I looked at my notes and it was about fucking Runaways.
Yeah.
I watched all 3 episodes. I didn't think I wanted to watch at least one because we had Ryan on the show last
Ryan
week.
Sands, who plays Papa Wilder.
Who's really fucking dope on the show.
Yeah.
Like sympathetic dope, but also like fucking evil dope. So I thought I'd watch one, but they're so fucking insanely well done. I watched all 3, and the next one drops, to use the kids' terminology, tonight at 9 o'clock. So when I leave here, I'm going to go home and watch that shit. It is so fucking well done. It's charming as shit.
Yeah.
It's not like it doesn't speak down to its characters. They feel like current teenagers. I got one, so I'm like, wow, this is fucking close. She went through her witch phase as well and stuff like that.
Just watch The Craft over and over and over again.
Totally. A lot of skulls in the room. That was one thing. They start panning around this chick's room, a lot of skulls. And I was like, I remember when my kid was the skull girl. Like everywhere. It was such an easy Christmas. We're like, here you go, skulls.
Was that when she was a bass player too?
It's true. Here you go, bass. Yeah, and she was deep into bass at that point.
Skulls.
Fucking death. I wish death on Silent Bob. I'm like, keep practicing, honey. It sounds great. Silent Bob.
Yeah, but I never watched the OC. I was never an OC guy.
That's what I noticed the credits. The co-creator of this show is Josh Schwartz.
Yeah,
he
Josh
made
Schwartz
the OC.
and Stephanie Savage, I think. And they were the
Who's
OC
the other
kids.
person?
Stephanie Savage, I believe her name
Was she
is.
co-creator on the OC, or he's the only one?
I think he's the only one, but they have since worked together on a bunch of stuff.
Is there really something I might know, or something you know at all? Or am I putting you on the spot? You can say,
totally are.
fucking move on. But anyway, back to
Quickly we pull that fucking...
Totally.
Go! Move!
There's no point. Run. But he's really a strong writer or creator, because I honestly fell in love with the show pretty quickly. And Marc was saying in the alleyway, he was just like, maybe it's time for me to go watch the OC.
Yeah, I never did. I just it glossed over me when I was at that fucking age. Or then again, I was also 35 when the OC came out, so I was never that age when I was on TV. But I like good teen entertainment. I like when you're telling stories about kids where, again, you're not talking down to the kids, where they're legit characters and they want things and they feel things and everything they do is motivated by what feels like teen logic. And then you add fucking evil nightmare parents and cults and rituals, murders and shit.
That's right. Spoilers. Episode 1 ends with like a fucking ritualistic killing where the kids are like, holy shit.
Mom?
Yeah, and they accidentally take a picture and shit. And like you know what it's like? It's like kind of like there's a movie I fucking love from the 70s, man. I don't know. I think they remade it. I can't remember. They were talking about remaking it. It was called Race with the Devil. Did you ever see that?
No.
It was Peter Fonda and Warren Oates. And if you read your cinema history, it only got made because Peter Fonda's like, we can go ride motorcycles in the desert. Fuck it. And they all went out and made this movie. It's him. It's Peter Fonda, Warren Oates, Loretta Swit, and I forget the fourth person's name, the other woman. So the idea is they got a Winnebago, and they're out in the middle of nowhere, fucking literally just doing jumps with fucking dirt bikes, middle-aged guys and shit. And so, but seeing him on a bike of any sort, this was fucking Captain America, Easy Rider himself, Peter Fonda. So I guess there was the draw. That's how you sell that movie. You're like, it's fucking Captain America. He's back on a motorcycle, and this time he's fighting Satan. And that's what happens. Like, they're all in a Winnebago, and they're fucking jumping the dunes and shit, and then they have a little, like, nighttime, like, fucking fireside picnic or whatever the fuck you would call it. They're just sitting there drinking coffee or chit-chatting, having a good time. And then they hear off in the distance, like, fucking music, and they see a fire in the distance. Maybe they didn't have a fire. Yeah, the fire's on the other side. They just had the Winnebago lights. So they're like, let's go look. And they go closer, and, it's the big flame in the middle and shit, and there's a bunch of people in robes, and they're, this is the 70s, so Satan's pretty new. Like, if any of us saw this, like from a mile away, it'd be like, Satanists, let's go the other way. But these cats are like, let's look. And they're looking and they're like, they're all in robes and shit. And they can't figure anything out. They're like, why are they doing this? Then they take off the robes and then they're like, oh, it's an orgy and shit like that. But then they bring out this girl and they fucking tie her up or lay her down, I forget. and they fucking stab her. They sacrifice her and shit. And one of the women, I don't know if it's Loretta Swit or the other one, like reacts, like, or screams or whatever fuck. And they all fucking turn at once. You know, and then Peter Fonda's like, let's get the fuck out of here. And they run to the Winnebago and take the fuck off. And they're like, whew, that was a close one. That's fucking Act 1. Act 2, you find out that they didn't get away at all. These fucking Satanists are all over their shit, dude. And like everything is terrifying. Like they fucking, like it's every step of the way, there's somebody there looking at them suspiciously. And they have to stop. It's really charming. Like you'd have to rewrite this entire part. But at one point in the movie, they're like, what is this cult? And so they go to a fucking local library and they look up satanic and they look up ritual and shit like that. And they're like, there are people that believe in the devil. Like they're literally giving you expository dialogue and shit.
Do you have a Tobin spirit guide here? Maybe we can just...
I'm telling you, it's like Satan 101 for dummies because like they have to presuppose the audience doesn't know jack shit. And so these Satanists chase him across the country. I don't want to spoil it, but I do want to tell you the ending image, so I will fucking spoil it. Like, they get away, like, there's fucking tons of, like, they're fucking close and shit, and they finally get away, and, you know, like, they're safe in the middle of nowhere and shit. And they're like, whew, thank God, like, it's all over. And then all of a sudden, like, it's a beautiful shot, fucking ring of fire surrounds the Winnebago in the night, just, and then you see the fucking Satanists chanting outside, and they're like, ah, credits. They knew how to end a movie in the fucking 70s, man. There was no like, and they all lived happily ever after, like, all these fucks will die. You just don't get to see it. And you got to use your imaginations. My whole young life, I was like, what did they do? Did they fucking eventually run out of the Winnebago and then the Satanists caught him and stabbed him to death, or did they shoot him from a like, how does it end? You know, I'd sit there for hours and shit back when I had an imagination. So that reminded me, that aspect of it really fucking caught my eye. Like eventually their parents, they see their parents up to fucking really no good, and not, it's a fucking kid's show. And for them to like kill somebody, or at least that's what it appears to be, you know, it's kind of fucking dope. But then their parents see them. They all turn and they don't see them, but they saw a flash of light and shit. So then there's a cat and mouse game between the parents and the kids. Like, do they know? How much do they know? And stuff. As the kids are also finding out what their parents' abilities are and shit, and what they can do and what they have done. It's really fucking crazily well done. For a show that wasn't even on my radar at all.
No, I went the other way. I went it's a show that fundamentally is kind of about when you stumble upon your parents having sex. And like that,
I like my Satan fucking version
you went
better than that.
Deep.
That shit's too psychological. It's like, yeah, fucking Satan, bitch.
But it's that thing where you're repulsed by it,
yeah,
and yet also kind of fucking curious about it because, but hey, kind of all at once.
You and I had different childhoods. I would only do that when I opened the fridge. Like, huh? Okay. Never occurred. I never heard my parents fuck. My entire time I lived at 21 Jackson Street. I told my mother that just recently. And she goes, I know, Tiger, you've told me. The whole time I was there, they were affectionate with one another and shit. I always saw them kiss. Never heard them fuck in my entire life. Assumed they stopped because I was the last child. So, but my mom says, no, that was not the case. They were just quiet. My dad was the original Silent Bob, apparently. Sorry. Self-referential jokes are always the best. Okay, so what were we talking about? Oh, I went
Runaways.
Satan. You went...
I went
kids.
Stumbling in on your parents having sex.
Yeah, that's a weird interpretation, I'll be honest with you. Usually I'm like, you're so fucking smart, but I didn't see that at all. I mean, especially because the kids are like, they're not like intrigued. They're like, holy fuck, like let's try to keep shit normal. But, you know, it is called the
Which
Runaways.
is exactly what it's like if you stumble on your parents having sex and the next day you got to keep shit normal.
Yeah, but does anyone run away because they fucking saw their parents having sex?
It depends on how your parents are having sex.
It's true. You're like, I saw him doing butt stuff. I had to get the fuck out of there.
Why are you wearing that hammerhead mask, Dad?
The hammerhead mask. Have you ever fucked in the costume? Hammerhead literally shook his head no.
No.
You gotta try it, dude.
Come on. Like get a little Mon Mothma action happening, and then Hammerhead, just fucking weird head shit. Go to town.
Mon Mothma. No, you gotta pick another Cantina denizen, man. You'd have to pick like fucking Greedo. That'd be hot. See who shoots first.
Oh,
Great
right.
minds think alike.
It's right there.
Except when it comes to the Runaways, you're way off about that.
All right, fuck it.
It's charming as fuck. Have you watched all three? No?
No, I've only ever seen the first one.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, which I saw at the premiere.
You saw it someplace.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I thought it was so good that I just kept fucking watching. So I will go watch tonight when I get home. I'm happy to have a new program. That and Search Party, I'm digging the shit out of. If you haven't watched Search Party yet, it's fucking weird. It's very original, especially like considering it's a TBS show. You're like, wow, they're taking chances. It makes you want to go to TBS and pitch some weird shit. Because you're like, if you did Search Party, you will definitely do Tusk the series or something like that. Okay, Runaways, that's what I had to talk about. And then I got one other thing on my agenda that's newsworthy, and then we'll go into the news that you've provided. They announced this week, I had no idea they were announcing it, but I was delighted they did it. I was delighted by the reaction that it got. I've, for years, have called him Marc Millar. Apparently not the case.
No?
Mark Miller. Literally just Mark Miller. But I'm like, it's got an A, not an E. And they're like, fuck it, it's Scottish. Stop trying to figure it out and shit. So I've been a fan. It's tough for me to change, but like, it's weird to say Mark Miller to me. But I've called him Marc Millar for so long, I got to keep going with it. Wrong or not, you know?
I once ran into a dude whose name was spelled Boote, and I wanted to call him Boot, because at the very least, that gives a dude some dignity.
Yeah.
But he corrected me. No, it's Booty. I was like, motherfucker, just roll with the boot. It's so much better if it's Boot.
It's actually kind of hot to be Booty, man.
Scott Booty.
That's his name, Scott Booty?
Yeah.
Sounds totally made up. So Marc, I've loved Marc's work for years, man, going back to when he did this run on Swamp Thing at DC, which really fucking honored the runs of Swamp Thing that had gone before. He referenced the Swamp Thing attack on Gotham right then and there. He owned my heart. I was like, holy shit, this guy remembers that shit? So, and this is going back to like 90s. I think he did that in 95, 96 or something. So I remember being a fan and meeting him at a con because he showed me pages of what would eventually be Red Sun. That's another book that he did at DC way back in the day. Classic story of what happened if Superman landed in the Soviet Union instead of America. Soviet Union, kryptonite land on you. Old reference. So, wonderful fucking book. I got to know him through the cons. I was always like, dude, your fucking writing I love your Swamp Thing. He has gone on to do many fucking things. After his stellar run at DC, he went over to Marvel, created the Ultimates. While at Marvel, he worked on it. He created Old Man Logan. There's no Logan movie as we know it without that. He touched a lot of shit over, and I mean good in a good way, not in a shitty way. He touched a lot of fucking characters over at Marvel and made a difference. And then they had an imprint called Icon or something like that, where you could create your own shit. And that's where him and John Romita Jr. did Kick-Ass, which led eventually to Wanted, which led to the Secret Service, Kingsman, the Secret Service. All three have been turned into motion picture properties. He just sold Millar World or Miller World, apparently, to Netflix. I think we talked about it.
$200 million or something ungodly.
And they've never bought somebody's whole catalog before, so that was kind of huge. Anyway, sweetest fucking dude in the world. And talented as fuck. Not only worked on fucking shit other people created, DC and Marvel, literally went and created his own universe. So, always been a sweet dude. Dropped me an email, because we used to email quite a bit back in the day and stuff, and then he got, way fucking famous and busy and shit. So he dropped me an email going, hey, I'm bringing Hit Girl back to comics. Like, I'm going to do a Hit Girl series, and it's set in Colombia. I'm going to do it with a bunch of different writers and artists. I was wondering, like, do you think you'd ever want to take a run at it? I think you'd be good with the character. And, it was like, fuck, another job that I'll disappoint somebody on, on both sides, where I'll be late for it, and then when the reader gets it, they'll be like, why did I fucking take another chance on this dickhead? But I was like, fuck, man, like, that would be fun. Like, I had a cool story for it and stuff. So I was like, you know what, man, I'll totally do it. And he was like, are you serious? And I was like, yeah. And so they just announced it fairly recently, last week. Who's putting it out? Do you know?
I'd have to think it's Image. I think Image is
Because that's
still,
where all his stuff is
yeah.
now. So his characters, because he owned... Marvel had nothing to do with Kick-Ass, the movie, or anything like that. It's just where they published it through the Icon imprint. But the idea of the Icon imprint was kind of like their version of Image, correct?
Right. It was basically so that Bendis didn't go to Image to do Powers. And so Powers was the first Icon book. And then Hit Girl rolled up, Kick-Ass rolled up under that. And then once everybody left and Icon went away, they all had the rights back to their characters, so they went wherever they wanted to. And so, Image is now putting out all of that stuff.
So he's done Kick-Ass 1, 2, and 3, and Hit Girl is a big part of all of it. So he wants to do it just Hit Girl series of books. So he's doing Columbia. I'm doing the next 4, which is set in Los Angeles. And when they announced it, I wasn't ready. I didn't know it was happening. But when I saw it pop up in my Twitter feed, I got fucking nauseous because I'm like, oh, God, here comes all the bile. Here comes the hate. Why would you let this guy near a fucking comic book? He made Batman piss himself. Whatever the fuck they always like to say and shit. But they didn't react like that. Most people were like, this makes sense. He should fucking write that character and stuff. So it was kind of nice, man. I told Marc, I was like, I couldn't believe that there wasn't a lot of hate for the idea. And he said, no, there's definitely a reservoir of love for you in the world of comics. He said, just don't fuck it up. So I've been working on it all week. It's fun. It's fun to dive back down that comic book writing well, because it's a lot more writing than I'm used to writing. If I write a screenplay, generally I'm going to direct it myself, so I'll write a fuck ton of dialogue, but the kind of informational passages, descriptive passages of just like, he walks into the room, pretty damn basic, because I'll be the guy directing it, so just on the day, I'll just fucking say what was in my head. But for a script that you're handing over to somebody to draw, you have to overwrite. You have to make sure this is everything I see in my head, because you can't assume that the artist knows what you've got in your head. You know what I'm saying? You got to put it out on the script. At the same time, you can't overwrite it to a point where the artist is like, Jesus, dude, can I be a little bit creative on the page? You know, you got to let them give some space too. There's a decent balance to it. But there's a lot more writing involved than there is in what I'm normally used to doing. I forgot that aspect of it, of like, oh yeah, I got to overwrite this shit.
It is one of the hardest forms to write in.
Like, you got a book on the stands right now.
Yeah, a book called Genius Cartel, out with Top Cow and Image. And it's a lot of fun to do, and I always like writing comics, but my brain hurts when I do it. Because when you write prose, it's just fucking prose. You're writing first person, third person, whatever that is. If you're writing a screenplay, like you said, it's about the dialogue, and you're just moving people from place to place and giving what information you need so that the costume department knows what people are wearing or whatever the fuck.
Right.
But comics...
Like, do you write shit when you write a script? Do you write, Kevin Smith, fucking 47, more confident than he looks or whatever. Like, I read scripts sometimes when I write that shit where I'm like, motherfucker, this ain't a book. Move the fuck on. Like, I don't want to know what you think this dude thinks of himself. I know actors don't like that shit.
Yeah. I mean, I think that half the time that's a sales tool so that executives know what you're aiming for, less than actors and production knows.
But it stays as part of the script, and then eventually an actor's like, are you fucking serious?
But like
Poor actors.
Yeah, but with comics, it's like, all right, how many pages are in this book? 22. How many panels are on each page? How many words are in each panel? Like, you're doing math, you're doing storyboarding, you're doing dialogue, you're doing drama. Like, it's the hardest fucking thing I've ever had to write because it's working both macro and micro at the same time.
Well put.
You're both telling a larger story, which in and of itself is a piece of another larger story. But like, how many panels should it be for this dude to open a door? You know, that could be one panel, it could be 3 panels. What makes more sense? You're dealing with time dilation, and it's fucking hard. It makes my brain hurt.
And then again, it also has a lot to do with who's driving the car. Because as the writer of the book, it's weird. You don't really drive it because it's such a visual medium. You know, that's why, like, when you look at a co-creation credit, it's a writer and an artist, because somebody has to conceive of this shit.
Yeah.
I could sit there and describe it till I'm blue in the face, but somebody's literally going to have to be like, all right, this is what that moment looks like in the real world. You know, if the real world was two-dimensional. Yeah. Pretty fascinating fucking process.
And my favorite thing to do when writing comics is to remove words from panels that don't need them anymore. You know,
Explain that.
like you write stuff on the page and you think the dialogue is necessary and you think that all this is required to make the story make sense. And then an artist does what an artist does, which is, I told your story for you. Yeah. I'm your cinematographer. I've figured out the best angles. I figured out how to convey emotion without words. And my job is then to pull out the words I don't need. Like, too much words. Like, this picture does it. Picture's better than my words. Fuck me. I'm a little hard on
the
myself.
fuck me approach to writing.
Yeah, fuck me. I suck at this.
I turn in my scripts right after Christmas, and I think it comes out at some point next year as soon as Marc's run is done. I'll let you know when that's happening. But yeah, I had a little bit of comic book news of my own that I was actually involved in this week. Now, let's dive down the rabbit hole of the news that you prepared for us this evening, my good friend.
The real news. I mean, I didn't report the news. I just went to the internet and copied and pasted the news.
Found some news.
I was like, yes, reporting journalism. Like,
That
I
counts.
just Google
Counts.
search, man. Box office this weekend, over the Thanksgiving weekend.
Okay.
Justice League is holding okay, not amazingly well, but pretty good.
Was
all
not
things
the number
considered.
one movie, though?
It was not.
Coco.
Coco from Pixar.
Okay. You see
Which
it?
I did.
How is it?
It's beautiful. It'll make you fucking cry like you won't believe.
Really?
And I know that's a low bar to get over, but it's a story that's ultimately about art. It's about the creation of art and whether or not you can compromise your desire to create art based on obligations to family.
I'm ready to cry right now.
It's and it's all about this kid who really wants to be a musician, but his family for generations has outlawed music, like fucking Footloose Town. You can't dance. You can't have anything to do with music, and ultimately he's desperate to become a musician. He discovers that maybe one of his distant relatives was the most famous musician in all of Mexico. He goes to steal his guitar so he can perform in the town square, and somehow ends up crossed over between the land of the living to the land of the dead. So the entire second act of the movie takes place in the land of the dead, Dia de los Muertos. And it's just beautiful. It looks so lovely. And it's all about the ancestors you've left behind and the ancestors you're not in contact with and you don't have a connection to, and realizing that the people you thought you knew, you had no idea what they were actually about. And it's like by the time you get to the end of this thing, and I'm not going to spoil any more than that, but just fucking tears from here to eternity. Just all of the fucking everything. Everything. It's got this amazing second act twist that you don't see coming. And by the time you get to the end and you realize that it's not only about making art. It's not only about obligation to family. It's about finding the compromise between the two. And art is often compromised, especially mass art, the art that we make. It's never everything you want it to be. It's, all right, I got to make this concession to get that thing. I've got to write this because the artist wants to draw it. I know the actor will do better with this than that. Like, it's compromise. It's all compromise. But it's with a vision. And it's just beautiful. Beautiful. I didn't expect to be as taken by it as I was.
You just sold the ticket. I'm going to go now.
You should. Beware, though. There is in front of Coco
I heard about this on the internet.
a 22-minute, quote-unquote, short for Frozen.
Now, you would imagine this would be a popular idea with kids because everyone fucking loves that Let It Go shit. But a lot of people showed up to see Coco and were baffled by the fact that they were seeing Frozen. And apparently, like 10 minutes into it, people started coming out and be like, are you showing the wrong fucking movie? Because that don't look like the land of the dead.
No, and like Pixar is and Disney Animation are great. The shorts are awesome. They always do these little like 4, 5, 6 minute little
Keyword is
pops
short.
of lovely. They did a full-on fucking television Christmas special in front of Coco. I'm like, if I brought a kid who was like, I want to see Coco, and had to make them sit through a half an hour of fucking Elsa and Anna and Olaf, the fucking dumbass mule snow thing, I guess, like that's a lot of popcorn I'm feeding this kid to keep him happy, or leaving.
So what was your scenario?
I went just with my wife, the two grown-ups in a theater full of parents and children. And did not have to leave, but I kept wondering, like, I'm going to see this on Disney Channel like next year for free. Why did I pay them money for this?
What did you pay them money for it? It's just a free part of the money you paid to see Coco.
Theoretically. For the amount of screen time.
Why did they do it? Why make it that long? Why?
Because I'm positive it's going to be on TV next year for Christmas.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
22 minutes
makes a lot of sense.
That's built in for commercials.
Wow. Backdoor Christmas special?
Yep.
Which sounds way dirtier than I meant it, but at the same time, I would like to see that.
So, yes, if you're going to go see it, just beware. You might want to show up like 20 minutes late.
People are upset about it. They're talking about how it's like, don't make me sit through a whole fucking show.
I hated that movie. I don't need more of that movie.
Do you think Disney thought like, oh, they'll fucking love it? They're getting a free thing.
The highest grossing animated movie of all time. How do you not want more of this?
But not at all.
Not so much.
I think it has more to do with what you said, though. It's like, hey, man, like if you were taking a kid to see a kid's movie, and that movie was like, you get a bunch of trailers. It's already about 20 minutes longer than the experience needs to be. Then you tack on another fucking short that's not really a short. And how do you explain that to a child? You're like, it's a short. They're like, it ain't short at all. I fucking hate that snowman.
Yeah. So just FYI, that's the deal. If you want to see more fucking singing and dancing with snowmen and mooses and Vikings or whatever, then hey, by all means, Olaf's Magical Winter Adventure is for you. But if not, just fucking skip on past. Just hang out longer at the concession stand.
All right, so Coco made how much?
Coco made $71 million over the 5-day weekend.
That's big.
And Justice League made 59.6.
That's
so
also
not bad.
Big. Yeah,
it's not bad at all. You know, the only real note of comparison for Justice League's grosses are that in the same 10 days from release to now, Justice League made $171 million, while Wonder Woman made $206 million.
Which is a difference of what, 45 million? 35 million?
35 million.
My math is off. So, okay. I mean,
it's not like it's that far off.
No.
And yet.
But at the same time, yeah, I can. At first, I'm like, well, that's fucking close. But the idea it was Justice League was supposed to be bigger than Jesus Christ. And we clearly saw that didn't happen. So, I think they were hoping to get close. But at the same time, Wonder Woman was a phenomenon that they weren't prepared for. So I think it may be an unfair box office comparison. I'm not sure what to do with that one. Except, I mean, the real story is that it's not the number one movie like 2 weeks in a row. And there is a drop. It's not precipitous, but it's pretty large. Now it seems like it did well worldwide, right? Domestically is only where it's losing its footing.
It's at $481 million worldwide.
That sounds like a lot of money to me.
It's not bad. I mean,
but they said it needs to make 700 worldwide for it to be a profitable movie for them, which sounds like they make. Will they get there if they're at 450 now?
I think they'll get to 700, but again, the comparison is with Avengers, which made $1.3 billion.
How much did it? Yeah, and that didn't cost.
And Batman v Superman made $900 and something million.
No, 800, I think.
800?
Yeah.
But yeah, it is going to fall short of almost every other comparison in its league.
Did you see the picture of Joe how do you say Manganiello?
Manganiello? Right, yes. He married Sofia Vergara.
He's married to Sofia Vergara?
Yeah.
Is that, I think of him as the dude from the Wolf Man from True Blood. But you reduce him to somebody's husband. That's interesting. In any event, he played Deathstroke, the Terminator, Slade Wilson, in the very last and best scene of the Justice League movie, like where you were like, holy shit, they're setting us up for what could be. Well, the joke that Luther made was like, don't we deserve a league of our own, which language-wise would lead you to believe in Justice League. But there's a picture of that guy Joe standing next to a board that says Legion of Doom, like a title treatment. Was that real? Did that happen, or is that an internet hoax? Do you know?
I don't know. I know they released a still from the movie, but I don't know if that was an unadulterated still. But I want a fucking Legion of Doom.
Oh, God. Yes, I want that movie bad. And that movie would make so much fucking money. If you just go goofy with people in outfits, like kind of like that last post-credit scene, just add fucking 10 more. And it don't have to be Batman. It could be members of the league. It could just be fucking Cyborg for all I give a shit. But show me all those villains and call it the Legion of Doom. I promise you will make a lot of fucking loot, right?
Yes. Did you?
Or is that just like my childhood talking?
I mean,
because they have a hard time making all the loot with Justice League. I don't know if Legion of Doom is going to push them over the top, but I think going weird and doing shit like that might be more the move.
I think so. I think so. There's also a tweet that went out over the weekend that David Ayer was answering questions about his new movie Bright, and somebody asked him.
That's the Max Landis script?
That's the Max Landis, Will Smith, magic cops in L.A. stuff.
Yeah, it looks like a cross between the real world and orcs.
Yeah.
He's an orc cop or something like
orcs
that.
in the hood.
Orking Day.
But he mentioned, he sort of came clean and said, I think we made a mistake with Suicide Squad. The Joker should have been the villain. Yeah.
I mean, I think we all felt that way. We didn't know really the Enchantress wound up being the villain, kind of.
Kinda.
I just watched her. What's her name? Cara
Delevingne.
I think she's a good actress. I think she keeps getting some roles that don't let her be the actress she could be. But I was sitting home before I came here watching Valerian.
Yeah.
And she's really great in it. Like charming as shit, like movie star charming and wonderful. But the Suicide Squad movie like drastically reduced her role and didn't really let her show her chops off. But I look forward to watching the rest of Valerian. She's really, really good in it. That being said, I'm sorry. Why did I bring that up?
Suicide Squad. She's the tangential bad guy.
And David Ayer. Yes, that's right. She was technically the bad guy, but unwilling. Yeah. Joker would have made a lot more sense if the mission was get the fucking Joker. We're just going to send the Suicide Squad after the Joker. Mm-hmm. I think that's the movie we were all hoping for. And
yes. And Harley is torn between having to do this and having to save Puddin'.
It's like a double agent.
Yeah.
So he agrees.
He does.
I like him. He's a really nice guy. I think he's a talented filmmaker, too. That movie's a little confused, but entertaining, to say the least. But I'm looking forward to watching Bright. When's that happen?
Soon, I think, in a month or so.
Free on Netflix.
Yep.
So I can watch it on my shitter.
Yes,
not
you
like
can.
I'm just saying I can watch it anywhere on my phone. I guess most people watch it on the laptop, so I just carry my phone around like this. While I was watching The Runaways, I was walking the dog in the hill watching the 3rd episode. And I was like, this is the fucking way to do it. It don't even feel like a workout anymore. It's a little life hack for you. What do you got next?
Star Wars The Last Jedi is tracking for, while we're in box office land, $200 million plus opening.
Sounds big.
Yeah.
That is big.
That is big.
What's the biggest opening weekend of all time at this point? Was it Force Awakens?
Force Awakens. $248 million opening weekend.
All right, so they're saying this is going to do 200, which, to be fair, like that would be expected. Force Awakens was a cultural phenomenon of like, can you believe they're doing this shit again and they're bringing back your heroes? Holy fuck, they killed Han Solo. Spoilers. This one is more of like, all right, the saga's going. This one's going to, like, you'll lose a percentage of that. The whole world's got to go because it's just the thing to do on this movie. Whether this movie is better than the last movie or not, there's going to be a bit of a fall off. But 200 million is fucking huge.
Not bad.
Not at all. That's pretty sweet. And I think that movie is going to make, I don't know if it'll do as high as Force Awakens, but I think it's a secret weapon. There's some shit we don't know about this movie, I think, that's going to push it over the top.
I mean, there's most of what we don't know about this movie. They've been very careful in the trailers and even the TV stuff to not give too much away.
The billboards are going up all over town, man. I saw a Carrie Fisher solo billboard that made me roll a tear on Cahuenga on my way here or on my way back from here. So the outdoor advertising is beginning in earnest. The YouTube spots are like happening like crazy. Every time I go to watch a YouTube clip, there's a Star Wars commercial, which thrills me, but at the same time, I'm like, isn't this movie pre-sold already? Like, why would you, especially the internet crowd, they don't have to be reminded, hey kids, you ever hear of Star Wars? Like, we're all lined up for it and shit.
It's like when you go into an IHOP and there's pictures of pancakes on the wall. It's like, motherfucker, I'm in IHOP already. You do not have to get me in the door.
Pre-sold.
I'm already here.
Put up a picture of a sunset, fucker. Yes, yeah. I wonder why. Do you think they're just like, look, we got to spend money on advertising. Why not throw it there?
Yeah, we got $200 million to spend on it. Just spend it.
See, I'm the guy that would be like, just cut that part of the budget. Like, no fucking YouTube. What are you, crazy? They're all going. Put it on fucking Lifetime. Put it on. What else would you put it on? Like, put it on the Christian Broadcasting Network. Get those fucking people, man.
It's about an immaculate conception anyway.
Truly, there's something going on. All right, so that's going to be, I'm going to be part of that money. I have not gotten an invite to the premiere, but even if I did, it's happening when I go to Colorado. I think they invite me all the time because they know I'm not here. Usually around this time, in I go to do a Colorado tour and stuff. So for Force Awakens, I couldn't go to that premiere, even though it literally happened at the Chinese theater a block from my fucking house. Like I could have fucking skateboarded down the hill to that premiere without breaking a sweat. So I got to go to the Rogue one last year, but this year I don't think I'm going to be able to.
Because that was in May.
Oh, that wasn't a Christmas movie?
Was it?
No, it was a Christmas movie, yeah.
Then why the fuck were you not in Colorado?
They just held it a little bit earlier, I think, so I was able to go to that one. But this one I don't think I'm going to be able to go to. Doesn't matter. They didn't invite me. But it happens on when?
I think it's the 9th. Downtown L.A., allegedly, theoretically. 8th? How do you know? Are you going to get to go?
Verizon Intel. You went to the Rogue One. I thought you guys looked familiar.
Nice.
All right.
If I switch from AT&T to Verizon, can I go also? Maybe. No. Then why? The night's going to go way differently, I feel.
Stop trying to have a three-way with the audience.
I got all this sugar and wine.
It is your birthday.
It is my birthday.
Go fucking nuts. All right, what happens next in the news?
Jude Law is in negotiations to join Captain Marvel.
This is very exciting. Jude Law is one of my favorite actors, the young pope notwithstanding. I haven't seen it. Not that he's good or bad in it. I've just never. Is he good in it?
Fucking nuts.
Is it crazy?
It's the kind of nuts that only Italians can make. Which is like, why is
Put
the
that
Pope
on a
talking to a
poster.
llama?
The kind of nuts only Italians can make. Marc Bernardin.
But it's got some of that weird ass fucking neo-surrealist shit. Like, here, the young Pope is talking to a llama. It's a shit that fucking happens in this show.
That's too smart for me. Ooh, something's going on in Los Angeles.
That joke was hot.
Okay, what's he going to play?
They have not revealed.
What do you
he's
think
going
he'll
to
play?
I think he plays villain. I think he plays an alien villain. I think he might play.
They promised that the villain would be a well-known Marvel villain.
I mean, they've already
Was that
got
like a Super Skrull?
They've already got Ben Mendelsohn as the film's villain, but I think that if you're going to do the Skrulls,
There could be a few, unless he is. Does Marvel still exist in that timeline? Could he not be Marvel, who teaches Captain Marvel to be Captain Marvel? Gives him. Could be, right? He
totally could.
cuts a super heroic figure, and that is a part of the story. Interesting. That's a huge casting, and that puts him back in the Marvel universe with
Paul Bettany,
Robert Downey Jr., Sherlock, and fucking Watson. And now the other Sherlock and Watson are also in the Marvel universe. The ones from the TV show.
Every Sherlock is here.
Wow. I hope they have scenes together. They look like they're friends.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Sound like a child.
Are they
I
friends?
hear they're friends. But it must be part of it.
Yeah. I have a Batman story today.
Oh, my God.
Because you did
So
throw down the
appropriate.
gauntlet last week saying that we have to cover more Batman for a show that's called Fat Man on Batman.
You're absolutely right. Which is the way good sketch comedy was born. The reason that Bob and Doug McKenzie exist at all on SCTV, the old comedy show, was because Canadian content dictated you have to do some Canadian content on the show. There has to be like 8 or 12% Canadian content. So they're like, all right, and they created the most stereotypical Canadians on the planet, and they were like, there it is, and it counts. So we should have to do a standard piece on Batman. What do you got?
According to, let me see, Child Development Monthly, pretending to be Batman helps keep kids on task.
What?
Yeah.
Is this about child workers being exploited?
No, this is about a tool that a bunch of psychologists have used to try and see what motivates kids to work better. And it turns out dressing a kid up as Batman helps him to be more attentive to his task than being himself.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, like if you can be Batman, be Batman.
That's true. It's words to live by.
And yeah, I mean, some of the kids, I'm gonna read some psych shit here.
Do it.
Hold on. Let's see. 180 kids aged 4 to 6 years old took place in some basic psych tests assessing their mental control, memory, and empathy. The children were encouraged to stay on task, but they were told that they could take a break whenever they wanted to go play on an iPad. Some of the children were assigned to self-immersed condition, which is a control group, which just means that they're being themselves, and they're going to ask themselves this question, am I working hard? Other kids were asked to reflect from a third-person perspective, saying, is James working hard? The rest of the kids were in the Batman condition.
Oh, my... This sounds cruel.
The Batman
This sounds like some
condition.
Skinner box shit, man. They're like, let's fuck with kids. You're Batman. You're Batman. You're not. And you'll never be. You just gotta be you, fucker. And you talk about yourself like you're that guy. Now everybody go.
The kids in the Batman condition were asked to imagine they were Batman and to ask themselves, over the course of their task, is Batman working hard? Children in the last condition were given relevant prompts.
The answer to that question is always, fuck yes.
Fuck yes.
He's always vigilant. He's always working.
And so the kids who were Batman got Batman capes, of course. Across age groups, and apparently unrelated to their personal scores on mental control, memory, or empathy.
Wait. Across age groups, we could have been involved in this study? We could have got capes.
I mean,
I could have had somebody finally go like, you are Batman.
4 to 6 years old.
Oh.
Sorry. The kids who were dressed as Batman spent the most time on their task. The children as themselves spent the least time, and those in the third person spent about in the middle. The results suggest that pretending to be a popular fictional character helps young children to resist distraction, at least compared to the other conditions used in the experiment.
Wow. I mean, I you know what? I'm gonna go for that. The idea is to follow up this study in 20 years as well, and be like, what happened to you? And he's like, I still think I'm Batman. Motherfucker jumping off roofs and shit like that. But that being said, in the present with what we know, I believe that. It's, what is it? Fake it until you can make it?
Totally.
Like if it helps, whatever helps you do the task, whatever helps you visualize and stuff like that, as long as it doesn't hurt people, as long as it doesn't go into mania or psychosis, if it helps you to believe that you're Batman and that makes you work harder, fucking whatever it takes.
It's dressing for success, as long as that success is not punching people in the face.
Yeah.
Asking, where's the trigger?
It's true. It's weird. Like the thing that Batman is probably most known for, at least cinematically, is punching fucking fuckers in the face. And they're like, kids, you're Batman,
Did you catch that SNL sketch I think a couple of weeks ago with Chance the Rapper was the host?
Yes.
And it was like the Bruce Wayne hosting his charity ball and like, hey, I know Batman. Really? You got to tell him to talk. You can't come breaking people's jaws.
Everybody who came in was like, yeah, I'll talk about Batman.
Yeah. Batman? We got to stop that motherfucker. Everybody was black. Like, why you got to break my jaw? I just go into my own trunk.
It was a really great sketch. All right. So, wait.
What?
That's how do we put this into effect in our own lives, you think? Yeah, and we're too old to be wearing capes. But is this something for one to adopt? I mean, haven't they just been talking about this on like the last few episodes of Walking Dead? There's some really nice monologues about fucking faking it until you can make it. King Ezekiel, spoilers, not a real king, and is finally talking about that and talking about how he just became. There's one of the episodes of the show. I don't know how many people still watch Walking Dead. It's got all the ratings, so a lot of people are, but I still watch The Walking Dead. They had one of their absolute best episodes a couple weeks ago called Some Guy, which focused mostly on Ezekiel and stuff. Powerful shit where, he kind of is laid bare and has to tell the fucking story of who he is, like why he is the guy with the tiger and stuff like that. And in that episode, they did as one of the best episodes they've ever done. It's also one of the worst bend over and fucking take it episodes they've ever done because they took away a beloved character. Spoilers if you don't follow the show. Tune out, cover your ears. 1, 2, 3. They fucking killed the tiger Shiva, the CG tiger. That was Ezekiel's fucking tiger. She came in to rescue him, and it looked like he was about to die. He's bitching at his buddy Jerry. Jerry's like, get behind me, my king. And he's like, I'm not your king. And he just starts breaking down. And he's just like, I'm just some guy who found a tiger. And then the fucking tiger, it's so beautiful, dude. I'm going to cry talking about it. Tiger, CG tiger, comes out of nowhere and fucking takes, like, there's a bunch of zombies in this nuclear swamp that's coming at them and shit. Toxic swamp. And he takes one of the zombies and just pitches it, but then all the zombies come at him and stuff. And you're like, no, there's no way they're going to fucking, don't do this to me. Don't old yeller that fucking cat, man. Like, I've invested a lot of time in this CGI cat. and they fucking let her die, dude. And like, you know, he's going crazy. He's like, we gotta help her, and like, we can't. And you hear the noises of her fucking dying, and she sacrificed herself. So they lost so much of the fucking magic. It must be a part of the storyline and shit. Because like part of the kingdom, which they've lost, everybody's been wiped out and stuff. Part of the specialness of the kingdom was Ezekiel having that fucking tiger and how exotic it was and strange, and it just provided you with hope. They killed that hope. Now I know it's like, you know, the budget department must be like, thank God, that was the most expensive fucking effect on the planet, creating a whole tiger. But it was tough to watch it go. It was one of the best and worst episodes to watch.
Now, can you have a zombie tiger?
I wondered if they were going to go that way, but generally when fuckers come in and go crazy, like when the zombies feed on a horse or whatever, they don't turn them into zombie. I didn't think I wondered, I was like, are they going to Game of Thrones this shit? And Ezekiel is going to have to fight a fucking zombie tiger, because that'd be double heartbreaking, but I don't think they're going that route. But, you know, fucking, I thought Glenn was dead and then the dumpster. So, you know, you never know what they're going to do on that fucking show. They did just announce, I was on Talking Dead last night, and Melissa McBride was on, and Avi, God, his last name escapes me. He's the guy who's plays Sadiq, the new character they just added, Avi Nash. They announced there a few weeks ago, there were, I guess, a con, maybe the New York con, one of the cons. They announced that the two shows, Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead, would cross over. They would have a character go from one to the other. They kept it as a surprise. They finally announced it last night on The Talking Dead. And it is Morgan.
Yeah, Lenny James's character.
Lenny
right?
James's character, Morgan. And so the idea, I think, on the show was just to be like, and they told us in advance, so like, try to avoid the questions, like, you know, don't start speculating what the storyline's going to be, because like that would frustrate the writers, because what if you get it right and shit like that. So we weren't going to like go deep on that topic or anything like that. And I think Lenny James just kind of outed a bunch of shit by accident. Like, he got on The Talking Dead and was just like, you know, I've said I'm in Austin. We start Fear of the Walking Dead tomorrow. I've said goodbye to the cast and crew. And Melissa was getting emotional, like kind of welling up and stuff. And it seemed to indicate like some dire consequences for Morgan. But then Morgan will live again in a different show. But at the same time, that show happens before this show. So it'll be Morgan's secret origin stuff. Now, that's not to say that the character will definitely die on The Walking Dead, but it felt kind of like they were saying goodbye last night, unintentionally. And maybe he's just being an actor and kind of misleading the audience, who knows. But it's, I guess some cats online were not happy with the choice of character. Everyone thought it was going to be Abraham, who was from Texas. Fear of the Walking Dead happens in Texas. That Abraham character, of course, what's his name? Michael Cudlitz, I believe. Mm-hmm. He's the guy who got killed by Negan. So this has been a cool opportunity to bring him back before he met Rosita, or maybe right when he meets Rosita, who knows. But instead, they're going with Morgan. Thoughts? You're not a big Walking Dead guy anymore, are you?
I haven't watched it in 4 years. So
oh,
I don't
shit.
know who half of these fucking people are you talking about.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you that lost and shit?
I gave up halfway through The Governor, which...
That was a tough slog, yeah.
I feel like too much of the show was a tough slog. You know, I mean, and right from the fucking farmhouse. I'm like, why are we still at the goddamn farmhouse? I had 8 episodes of this farmhouse. I don't need 8 episodes of the farmhouse. I don't like farms. And so I just, after a while, it was when I moved. Like when I moved from New Jersey to California, and I got here and I didn't have a DVR. And that was oh, well, fuck, I guess I'm not watching The Walking Dead anymore. And I kind of didn't miss it. I tuned back in for the Negan premiere just because I wanted to see what that was.
Right.
And then realized it was so punishingly bleak and brutal that I was not getting any enjoyment out of watching The Walking Dead.
You think they should bring in Joss Whedon to lighten shit up? So they can have discussions. And
George R.R. Martin would lighten that shit up, and he kills motherfuckers like no tomorrow.
Well, they got some good stuff going on in that episode, and that was the big news of that came out of there. I look forward to seeing. I want to see how they work him in. I guess that means you're going to see Morgan and his family. You may see his wife. You may see his kid. We met his kid way back in the beginning. So I don't know. Interesting, cool thing to do over there. Finally cross those things over.
I mean, if you have a universe, fucking use the universe.
Expand it and shit. What else we got?
That is it, my friend.
That's the news rabbit hole?
That's the news.
All right, let me see what else I got on the agenda.
Oh, we got a guest.
We do, absolutely, man. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to bring out a gentleman. He's a funny gentleman and shit, and he's going to tell us a story about what he's doing over here. Ramas, you here? Yeah. Come on up, man. Everyone give it up for Ramas Ranganathan.
Hello.
How are you? Jump into the center.
Hello. Thank you very much for having me. Thank
now,
you.
Ramas, you do comedy. This is Marc. You met Marc before.
Yes. Hey.
These are all the good folks here.
Hello. Sorry to interrupt your enjoyment. Thank you.
Now, you're a comedian?
I am. Yeah.
Here, there, everywhere.
Just in the UK up to this point. So I've been doing stand-up in the UK for about 6-7 years, and then I've always loved American stand-up and like American comedy, and so I decided to sort of sack it off in the UK and come over here and see how I get on. I heard you guys are really welcoming immigrants at this moment in time, so I thought I'd
yeah, it's a good time to pick.
Yeah, I thought it'd be a good time to come over and see how it goes. So
especially brown ones, man.
Yeah. I've heard I'm like ticking all the boxes, man. Like I'm properly smashing it. I've got the look that they're after and everything, man. So I'm excited. But actually, I was interested in what you were saying, Marc, earlier about you giving up your career to go into something completely different, because like I was a teacher before I was a stand-up.
The fuck, really? What did you teach?
I was teaching like maths, like high school. We don't call it high school, but so I was teaching maths. Then I gave that up to do stand-up, and then I've sort of come over here to sort of roll the dice again. Do you know what I mean? So it was sort of quite inspiring hearing you talk about that. But I mean, you've succeeded and I've done nothing. So I don't know, like, inspired me to take a risk. So yeah, because my family were over here and everything. In fact, we just watched Coco this weekend at the cinema.
Did you? Now, how did it play for you?
Well, one of my sons, we encourage our children to sort of. I've got 3 boys, 8, 6, and 3, and we encourage their right to protest. So one of them was protesting being made to watch Coco. So
did he kneel before the?
No. So I said to him,
"You
"You've got to come with us because it's family time." I said, "But if you want to carry on and object, you can object." And so for the duration of the film, he sat facing away from the screen with his hands over his ears for the entire duration.
A conscientious objector to Coco.
Yeah. He was properly like against it. I don't know what statement he was making. He enjoyed Up. He loved all the Toy Stories. So I don't know where the militancy started. Do you know what I mean? But
has he been reading the news about John Lasseter?
Yeah. Well, I think he's like a strong. He just said to me, "I'm not having it, Dad." Do you know what I mean? Like John Lasseter, that's where I draw the line. So I'm not going to watch anything anymore. Do you know what I mean? But it's a weird one. I do want to talk about this. By the way, Coco is incredible. Like I thought it was a return to form by Pixar because I think they've been slightly off. But like this is amazing. I do want to talk about that fucking unacceptable Frozen thing at the beginning, right?
Yes. Preach, motherfucker, preach.
That is. I am more opposed to that short than I am racism. It's a fucking disgrace, that short, right? It's 22 minutes for a start. Secondly, I'm going to do some spoiler alerts here. It is a piece of shit, right? Even if you buy into the Frozen world, and listen, spoiler alert. If you're looking forward and excited to watch it, what the fuck are you doing with your life? But I am doing a spoiler alert now, right? The setup for that goddamn short, right? It's not a short, long as fuck. That's what they should call it. They should call it before you see Coco, you're about to watch a long as fuck, right? So anyway, sitting there watching the setup for this. It's Christmas time, right? Fine, I'm on board with that so far. It's Christmas time. They ring a bell to signify the start of the holidays, right? And then the 2 girls, was it Elsa and Anna, right? The bell rings, and then everybody leaves the palace area or whatever to go off and do their thing. And then they go, do you want to come in? We're having a party inside. We're having a party. And they go, no, we've got stuff to do. Are you shitting me? Because I'm pretty sure the entire town gathered to watch you ring a fucking bell. And you're inviting them into the palace and you're not coming in. And that's the whole setup. They're lonely because people won't come. Sorry, mate. Have you seen Twitter today? People are losing their shit about one of the royal family getting engaged. So I think if you get invited into their house, I think you're going to go, mate. Do you know what I mean? So the whole premise is dog shit. I honestly, I do think people should protest it. And I'm encouraging you to protest it for the 22 long minutes it's on before Coco. It is as shit as Coco is wonderful. So there you go.
Now, in your journey over here,
Yeah.
what's going on?
Well, so basically, I've come over here and I wanted to give myself a target, like a goal. Do you know what I mean? Like something to sort of measure myself against, because I sort of thought it's very difficult in comedy. It's very difficult to know. There's no moment where you think I've done it.
Right.
So like I'm trying to justify to my wife and kids me coming over here and doing this. So what I decided to do is I decided to do like a big symbol of my journey. And what I did do is I spent a lot of money and I booked the Greek theatre, right?
Fuck, really?
Yeah, for the 21st of December. Now,
For
what
those, for those unfamiliar out here in Los Angeles, the Greek theater is an amphitheater, right? Is outside?
Right, that's correct. So what I didn't realise is part of the reason I think I was allowed the booking is because it's the 21st of December and it's an outdoor venue. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think they had. I don't think they had many people like fighting for that date. So that was the idea. So I've sort of booked that, and then in my head, I thought I'd gradually, week by week, sort of make an exciting step towards selling it out. I don't want to sort of. I mean, I don't want to shit on your inspiring story, Mark, but currently the venue has a capacity of 5,900. I have sold 130 tickets. So if anybody here has got 5,000 friends, that would really help me out. What I've also found out is that all of the British expats that might have wanted to come and see me, they go home for Christmas, so they won't even be in LA. So it's a difficult one. Do you know what I mean? But so what I'm saying is, help me, because the love of my children depends very much on this show going well. Do you know what I mean? So that's the situation, basically.
When is the show?
21st of December.
21st of December. Where can they get tickets?
They can get tickets from my website, rameshranganathan.com. We like to sort of make it a test. But like we could do an easy website, but I want to know that you really want the fucking tickets. Do you know what I mean? So spell my name and look it up, or you can go to the Greek website or Ticketmaster.
How long is your show?
My show will depends how many people turn up. If it's 130 people, it will be a 5-minute apology, and then we'll just leave. But it's about, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. 60, 70 minutes. I don't know. We'll just see.
So anybody, are they going to shoot it?
No. Well, I
not even that carrot to dangle. Like, hey, you could be in a show.
Yeah, no. Listen, the truth is, I am like my journey towards that is being documented. So you will be, yeah, you could be filmed, but I don't think like if 7 people turn up, I will tell them to turn the fucking cameras off. Do you know what I mean? I'm not having the show covered. Do you know what I mean? So there you go. That's the situation. Yeah.
You know, it's nobody will know as long as the camera points at the stage.
That's true. Yeah, but there's only so much you can pretend that you're killing it, right? Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
I don't know. I played one time. I was supposed to play in a room at the San Diego Comic-Con, the Hall H, and it seats 6,000.
Yeah, about that.
And then like right before my show, like J.J. Abrams did a Star Wars panel, and then they took the entire audience out to see a free concert where they gave out plastic lightsabers and shit. So the entire fucking place emptied. And I was like, what do we do? And they're like, there's some people in line still outside. And I'm like, how many? They're like, a couple hundred. And I'm like, this is a 6,000 seat room. It's going to look like a hot dog in a fucking hallway, man. So there was a moment where I was like, let's cancel the show. Even I would rather go fucking watch the Star Wars concert. I've heard Kevin Smith talk before. Fuck this guy. But they eventually found like there was 2,000 people and stuff. But 2,000 and a 6,000 seater looks fucking hardcore. Not as bad as 150 and a 5,000 seater. I was trying to help, but that fucking story doesn't help.
I've moderated panels at comic conventions where there were more people on the dais than in the audience.
That's true.
So it's like, hey, you guys could just sit up here. We got better seats.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's all come up here and chat.
Yeah. There's 9 of us here. Let's have a good intimate conversation.
Yeah, I feel worse.
I'm just trying to help.
I've got to be honest. But thank you.
We were really trying on that one. All right, man. So everyone here tonight, and everyone who watched at home or listens at home, they got it. Hopefully, if you're in the Los Angeles area, man, let's beef those numbers.
Yes, please do. Yeah, God help me, please, because my marriage is on a knife edge. Thank you very much.
Give it up for Ramas, everybody. Killed, man. That was fucking awesome. Oh my God, that was tremendous. And that was fucking worth it to hear the review alone. Fuck,
Seriously. I mean, it checks out.
It really does. God, that, I like the show is like free and easy enough that like, and now someone way funnier than us. We should do more of that.
Who does this for a living?
Okay, we've come to the part of the show that's so fucking fun, folks. This is the Q&A part of Fat Man on Batman. This is where we turn to you, the audience, to talk about some shit that you want to talk about. Now, we, again, have a selection of gifts to give to the people that get to ask
This shit is mine.
questions. Are you taking that? Yeah,
I'm taking my wine.
We've got, as
My
we have
Twitch.
the previous few episodes, Deacon is here in the audience. Deacon works at 4DX, which is Deacon. For the last few weeks, man, 4DX has given us tickets to give out. If you've never seen a movie in 4DX, there's 3 places I know of right now that you can go of, like in New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago. I'm sure there are more places opening and stuff. If you haven't seen a movie in 4DX, like, treat yourself. I'm going to go see fucking Last Jedi in 4DX because the chairs move with the movie. The chair is constantly in motion that you're sitting in. When it snows in the movie, it snows in the fucking theater. When a motorcycle goes by, you smell the burnt rubber because it shoots scents at you all the time. If somebody farts, you smell it. No, they haven't gone that far yet, but one day they might. But the 4DX experience with the chair moving, when you're watching the crawl of a Star Wars movie, the chair goes back with the crawl. It's fucking intense. So 4DX is a great experience, and it's here at LA Live. I think that's where they have it here. Last week, we gave out, how many sets of tickets?
We gave out 10.
How many do we have
5
this
sets
time?
of 2.
Same thing? Deacon, you there?
Bueller?
Deacon's like, fuck your show. All right, here we go. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, 10 tickets. 2 said nobody wants to take a single ticket. You want to be able to go to the theater. Nobody. It's like 4DX experience. Literally, this is the one theater you can go to by yourself because it is kind of like you're enclosed in this chair. But it's also cool to have somebody afterwards be like, wasn't that fucking amazing?
Did you feel the rain on your face?
They fucking snowed right in my fucking face. So we've got that as tickets, and we've also got tickets here, man. How many did we get? Anybody know? 11 tickets from Ripley's? Is this from you? So we've got right across the street. Is this across the street, right? Or nearby? Yeah, it's down the block a bit. Like one of the things that I went to when I first came out to Los Angeles as a little boy was a Ripley's, the Believe It or Not, is it still called the Auditorium? What do they call it? It is? The Auditorium. We went and did a piece on The Tonight Show there years ago. It's an historic part of Hollywood Boulevard. It's very nearby, and we've got 13 tickets? 11 tickets to give out?
I see 3.
There's 3 there. Maybe the rest are in the bag or something like that. Yeah, they fell down. Maybe they fell down? Yeah, I'm sorry. They're falling over the bag. All right. So 11 fucking tickets to the auditorium. Did you give us pens too? And you get pens as well.
Hooray.
They write what color? What's your name? Corey. Give it up for Corey, everybody. We're getting so many fucking prizes to give out. It's like it's competing with one of my true passions about doing this show is collecting all the crap that I can't give away and bringing it here and giving them out as prizes and shit like that. So I've also got some shit. Whoever asks a question gets to come up and pick. We got a Batman versus Two-Face Blu-ray here. I just got a Loot Crate open today, and it had a Buffy the Vampire Slayer statue in it. There's a Jason Voorhees hockey mask, and we've got 4DX tickets, and we've got Ripley's Believe It or Not tickets. Do you care if we package them together, put them together? Fantastic. So
We're
we'll
still
put.
missing 2, I think.
Okay, let's while we're chit chatting, let's do 1, 2 per each, and put those together. Okay, JC has a microphone that he's going to run around with, so people at home can actually hear the questions as well. JC, I leave it to you to pick whoever you want. Remember, the questions got to be good. Like if you ask shit like, "Hey man, when's Jay and Silent Bob going to return?" You don't win anything. The questions should be show relevant, of course, and they should, genre relevant and whatnot. And they should address both of us. Nobody wants to stand around while one guy answers questions and stuff. So the best questions get it, man. Now that we got cool fucking prizes at play, everybody's got to lift up their fucking A game.
Rising tide lifts all boats, right?
Yes, absolutely true. The more creative the answers that come from the questions, the better chance you get at winning some shit. JC, pick where we're going.
Well, now he can't win tickets to his own fucking thing.
It's okay. I've been holding on to this for 3 weeks.
Fire away.
Alex and Kara. Marc, I want you to write me a story for young Alex and Kara from Supergirl. The episode, like, immediately I was like, oh my God, Kevin, Yoga Hosers, Alex and Kara, this has to happen. Ask Marc what you do with this so it's not creepy.
Alex and Kara refers to Supergirl.
Yes, the Supergirl episodes with young Alex and young Kara.
Which was amazing. For those that don't follow the world of Supergirl, they recently did a great episode. The episode right after mine was the episode where they went back to Midvale and they did a story about the young versions of Alex, who's played by Kyler Lee. That's Alex Danvers on Supergirl. That's Supergirl's sister. And Kara, who is also Supergirl in the show, played by Melissa Benoist. Or Benoist. I heard them say Benoist on the Kids' Choice Awards. I had a long conversation with her about it once where I was like, I'd say Benoit, and she's like, we used to, but it has a different connotation to some people, and so now we go Benoist instead.
Because of the balls?
Yeah, totally. I didn't think that needed explaining, but thank you very much. I thought most of the adults got that one, but you're like, that's balls, kids, balls. Okay, so that episode was charming as fuck because it allowed you to go into the kids' history, and B, they found kids to play the kids that were pretty close. The girl who played Kyler was like spot on. She really studied her and stuff. So it was an incredibly charming story. I'll spoil it. If you're not watching Supergirl this year, it's really fucking good. Like they're doing really great stories. And the episode they just did last week introduced the Legion of Superheroes. So Mon-El wakes up and Saturn Girl wakes up and shit. And you're like, oh my God, we're getting there. Next up, Brainiac's going to show up. Brainiac 5, not Brainiac. Legion flight rings are going to be in play. Like it's fucking on. But prior to this, they've been telling a pretty like naturalistic or real life story and stuff in some sections. This story they talk about, they go back to Midvale to like hang out with their mom and kind of convalesce after Alex broke up with Maggie Sawyer, her love. They were going to get married, but instead they wound up splitting up over a difference in wanting to have children or not. So they go home to spend time with mom, and then they kind of bicker because they're both in weird places, and then go to sleep as their adult selves and wake up as the kids' selves, and they tell the story of how the sisters first became friends. So it's a really charming story about how she's like, I don't want this fucking strange girl at our house and blah, 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 and having to put up with her and people at school like not like her and like her sister and stuff. Then there's a kid, a geeky kid with a telescope that Kara hangs out with, and he's a nerdy kid, but like he's nice to her and shit like that. He winds up getting killed. And so the episode becomes like the two Danvers sisters, because they both knew him, trying to figure out who killed Kenny. Oh my God, who killed Kenny? And so it's the South Parkiest episode they've ever done. So they there's a bunch of turns and twists. There's an early appearance at one point by like an early DEO agent that kind of looks like Kara's mother, who was played in this season by the lady who played Lois Lane, I think, in Smallville. They had to switch moms and stuff. So at first they're getting that bite of the apple where, she's like, Mom, and then she doesn't look, she's not her mom and stuff. And so you're like, oh, I see why they did that. But then there's a PS to that scene where the DEO agent is like, you can't ever use your powers again. Like, you can't do that while you're here. And she's like, I won't. and the DEO agent leaves, and it's John Jones. Like, and right away you get choked up. You're like, oh my God, he was looking after them when they were kids. Their relationship is incredibly fucking special on the show. So ultimately, and this is where I'm going to well up, ultimately they solve the murder of the kid, and who kills the kid is kind of unimportant. But what they find out is, like, he was friends with Kara, and they had a moment where they could have kissed, but she felt kind of shy, and it didn't wind up happening. As they're going through his laptop, they find an image on his laptop that came from his telescope. And I'm going to cry. It's an image of her flying. He knew who she was, and he never told anybody. Such a fucking special story. Incredibly well done. So the question has to do with, shouldn't they continue that, at least in the world of comics? Keep it going, right? It's good. I think for them, it honestly, first place in production, it represented, this lets us give both Melissa and Kyler a couple days off, because we can hire people to play them and shit like that. But they've lucked into something. Like, you can keep going with that. They could do that perennially, at least one a year or something. Should it be in comics? I'd go for it. I don't know what they're doing with the character in comics now. But, you know, I would hope that there's some line that hones close to the CW stuff. I guess not. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's a really wonderful episode that they did. And then last week's episode was, like, intense. And they're building toward rain. The character, Sam, just figured out, you know, she intentionally built the Fortress of Sanctuary, which is like Rain, the bad, you know, Supergirl's version of the Fortress of Solitude. It's really lighting up, man. That show is wonderful. But the question, he's obviously completely unfamiliar with it. Does that answer the question?
What would I do with it?
Yeah, how do you write the young stuff without making it about Harvey Weinstein? You know, because it really seems...
I think as I would have before, which is not including old men. I mean, and it sounds like, I didn't see that other episode, but it sounds like a Nancy Drew episode, ultimately.
Very much so. Incredibly so. Yeah, charming as fuck as the two girls go on, you know, a detective adventure, first unwillingly and then together, and that's how they bond and become sisters for life and stuff. Really sweet. I'm telling you, I've said it before, I'll say it again. That show is so fucking good. Those people are so good at their jobs, those actresses, that they make me feel like I've truly missed out in life by not being a younger sister to an older sister. Like, I got an older sister, and whenever I say it, she's like, you had an older sister. I was like, but in the equation, I was a boy. Like, in this fantasy equation, I would be a girl. Like, it shows this incredible bond that sisters have that made me go like, fuck, I missed out on something. So, anyway.
I mean, part of me wants to say you do, like, it'd be kind of great if you did, after Supergirl runs its course this season, and they're going to take the summer off, and CW do whatever the fuck CW will do, to do like an 8-episode Danvers Girls mystery show, or whatever the fuck. Maybe like Race to Witch Mountain-y a little bit. Maybe there's a like the Danvers Girls on the run. Maybe it's John Jones has to protect them from rogue faction inside the DEO, something like that. But the two of them together, hunted by somebody, and they've got to both deal with each other because, you know, you build a scenario in which they are not on the best of terms.
Right. Well, they've already done that. You can't ring that bell again. Now they're still buddies.
Yeah. There's always a way to put a wedge between sisters.
Don't you fucking do it. They're important to me.
I feel like puberty is always a great model for conflict.
As long as they don't fight over some fucking boy.
No, nobody wants that.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. But I think there's absolutely a way to do that story. You know, especially if you watch something like Runaways and you see how they deal with kids and young people and young adults and the shit that occupies their minds that don't feel like they're as big as the world ending, but for them the world is ending. You know, like that's the thing. For every kid, that's what Buffy did so well. Buffy gave you apocalypses every week that were both personal and supernatural. And sometimes the personal apocalypses felt bigger. They felt worse. Oh my God, nobody's going to invite me to the dance is just as big a deal as I'm living on a hellmouth, you know, and it's figuring out a way to navigate those two things so that you can have all of the big, giant fucking comic book awesome, but it's about this time in these girls' lives and what it means to both have sisters, to have an enemy sleeping in the bedroom next to you who you might be having conflict with, what it means to suddenly your body is doing different shit. I mean, the X-Men was nothing but a metaphor for both puberty and race relations, ultimately, you know. there's so much in that fucking stew that you can just spin and ladle out and absolutely have a great like 8 or 10 episodes of awesome out of.
Fucking A. Good answer. All right, man. Come pick a prize. Come pick a prize. Where are we going next, JC? Right there. I can totally sign that if you pitch it up here with a marker. But is that your question?
That was not my. I have a question, but I would
Okay.
appreciate that as well.
I could totally do both.
Thank.
He brought a pop of me.
I can. Anyway, so the question
on the
I can
window
pull
or
it
on
up.
top?
I'll put the question on top. Sorry, yeah.
On top here? Or here,
Here,
on the
please.
window.
Thank
Some
you.
people
Sorry.
don't want it on my face. I'm like, put it on my face.
So one of the things I appreciate about both of you the most is that how interactive you are with the fans on social media and telling stories about your career. And one of the stories of Kevin that you told that always stuck with me was with Superman and the spider and all that. I was just wondering, are there stories from your meetings you've had with people, I'm not asking to name names, that where you're like, you couldn't believe that they thought a certain way, that it was just so different than what the fans would expect, or it was just what they expected to be reasonable was just so outlandish?
Yeah, I mean, early on when the first cycle of Genius came out, there was a little bit of interest from Hollywood people on it. But again, in case you don't know what Genius is about, it's about a 17-year-old black girl from South Central who declares war against the LAPD and secedes 4 square blocks from the Union.
Again?
Again, that old chestnut. But part of what makes that book special is the specificity of it, is the where it's set, the when it's set, the who it's set around. And we'd have these meetings with development executives who were like, hey, listen, we love this book, but here's what we want to do. Instead of Los Angeles, could it be like Long Beach? And instead of cops, could they be like private security? And also, could a comet be heading towards the planet at the same time? We just need a reason why. So what about like Earthquake? Could it be post-apocalyptic? And we would say, hey, listen, I would watch that season of 24 if you do that, but you don't need this book to do that. You know, it's figuring out, at least for us, what made the thing special to begin with, and then circling the wagons around that. And once you start monkeying with the shit on the periphery, fine. I don't care if she's 17 or she's 20. If you're going to get, like, find me a movie star, I'll age it up to 30. She shouldn't have to be a teenager. I get it. But so much of that is about context and specificity and place and time. And find what makes it special and circle the wagons around that. You know, and part of what frustrates me when, you know, I go to movies, be they DC, be they Marvel, be they whatever, is here was the awesome, and you forgot what the awesome was. You know, like, here's what's awesome about Superman. The tragedy of Superman is that he can't save everybody at once. That he can hear everything horrible that happens in the world, but can only save one person at a time. Or maybe a building of Ukrainians at a time, whatever. But he hears everything and can't save everybody. That's his tragedy. It is not, oh shit, my girlfriend got married to another guy and had a kid. Now I'm a pervy stalker hovering outside her window at night.
I remember that one.
That is not what Superman is. Superman is not, I could save my dad, but I won't because reasons? I don't know. Like, remembering what these characters are, remembering what makes them special, and then just zeroing in on that stuff. And that's sometimes what I feel like development people forget, because they have to justify their decisions up a ladder, and it's way easier to say no than to say yes, and it's way easier to not take a risk, or to just fucking water something down, make it the most palatable version of itself, when sometimes it needs to be Deadpool. Sometimes it needs to be fucking crazy. And it needs to alienate some people to thoroughly please others.
That's smart. Let me see. I don't have it. I mean, I don't really deal in that world that much anymore. Like, you know, I don't have to sit with people that are corporate and have interests to protect. Like, I'm in the Walrus movie phase of my career, so I don't trip over too much of that anymore. The last thing that was like, and it wasn't even a big deal. It wasn't like I'm outraged. But somebody asked me, hey man, we got Toxic Avenger and we're gonna remake it, do a reboot and stuff. And we think, hey, you're from Jersey. And you know, I always kind of dug what Lloyd Kaufman and the Trauma people do. It was right in Jersey. I remember seeing them on the news all the time. They're like, Hollywood Motion Pictures in New Jersey, right here at Trauma, you know. And Toxic Avenger was insanely well known. So I always respected the trauma world and the Toxie franchise. So I was like, all right, I'll go down the rabbit hole a little bit and see what's what. And we parted ways fundamentally on the budget, because I was just like, part of the charm of the Toxic Avenger is it's like fucking made for 2 nickels. If you're gonna do it again, like, don't spend a lot of money. But they were like, no, it's a $35 million movie. And I was like, it's a fucking remake of the Toxic Avenger. Like, the guy in a tutu with a bad makeup job. Like, where are we gonna spend all the money on? Coke? Like, so right then and there, I was like, I'm not clearly on the same page. Like, in my head, if I need to see a Toxic Avenger remake, it should be done in the spirit of the original. But instead, they were literally trying to start a franchise, like Marvelize it and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't know if you guys saw that movie. So I just quietly stepped away. Like, I understand what they were going for, but like, I would never want to see that version of the movie. It would be like, somebody doing a $35 million version of Clerks. Like, why would you bother?
Lasers, man.
That's true. We never had lasers. Come on up and pick out a prize. Well done, man. Where are we going next, JC? Wampa hat. Oh, my
Wampa
God,
hat.
that is a Wampa hat.
Holy shit.
I hope this show becomes more and more like, let's make a deal. Like, I want everybody in costumes holding up signs and shit. That's phenomenal. Excellent job. And you can't pull that off in many bars. You know what I'm saying?
Very true.
You should be able to, because it's a genius conversation piece. It says so much about you without you saying a fucking word. And it could draw people as well. To a lot of other people, and who are drunk in a bar, they'd be like, what the fuck's going on?
Kill it with fire.
Yeah, what happened? But I respect the shit out of that.
Well, thank you.
Anyway, on to your question.
So
Can you, as you asked, just show us all sides and shit? I don't mean turn around, but I do want to. Oh my God, that is fucking phenomenal. Where'd you get that?
So I was at Disneyland, and this is actually just a Wampa like toboggan, and I was wearing
On
my
top of a
cowboy hat out
cowboy
there.
hat.
And so I got tired of carrying it around, so I put it on my cowboy hat, and it got so popular walking around Disneyland that I'm like, this is how I'm wearing my cowboy hat from now on.
Yeah, it's a thing, man. You created a thing, like Michael Jackson with the one glove.
He's like Wampa Nelson.
All right, so
All right.
what's your question, my friend?
So me and my friends used to argue about superheroes back in the day when we were kids, and so now I'm going to pass this Batman question on to you since you're the fat man on Batman. I always argued that Batman actually does have a superpower, besides the fact of him saying I'm rich, like in the last movie.
Right.
He actually has, in my opinion, super will, because there's no one human being who can be that dedicated to doing what he does. And I just want to get your all's take on that opinion.
Hands down, I would agree with that, absolutely. The part of the charm of the character has always been not just like, hey, it could be me because he doesn't have fucking quote-unquote superpowers and stuff, and I could be like Batman as long as I had $1 billion and my parents got fucking killed. So, but beyond that, there's the relatable aspect of like, this is somebody who won't quit. He has a will of iron. Like, one of the things that will always carry with me to my grave is like some throwaway internal passage in a comic. It may have been in Blind Justice, the Sam Hamm like 3-issue series. But he talked about only needing 3 hours of sleep. He's like, the human body only needs 3 hours of sleep, especially if you're driven and shit. And I remember taking that shit seriously. Some shit I read in a comic book, and put it into effect in my life and found that, like, you can really fucking exist on 3 hours of sleep. A lot of naps, but 3 hours of hardcore fucking sleep at night. So, yeah, I mean, I've never had the iron will of a Batman, obviously. I couldn't get past the working out part. But the character does have an incredible will. And yes, that can be a superpower. I would agree with that. Mark?
I think it's will plus mania. Like, I think athletes have incredible will. Like, again, if you're going to be an Olympic class athlete, your life is drive. And I get that. But the level to which Bruce Wayne drives himself is not rational by any stretch of the imagination. And so if you add crazy plus driven, you get Batman. And whether or not that qualifies as superpower or just, again, crazy pants, that's for smarter people than I to say. But yeah, it's not just money. Money is not what makes him special.
No.
Like, I think that year one shows you money's not what makes him special. What makes him special is the capacity to push through what normal people should not be able to push through.
I like his version better, the Super Will. You're like, Super Will, yeah, but super fucking crazy as well. Crazy strong. It can't, like, I always get comfortable talking about that could happen in the real world, but think about it. When you just brought up the athlete thing, I never really thought about that comparison. People that are like Olympians devote incredible amounts of time, their entire lives to train for like one very important race and stuff. In peak physical condition for that, but after that race, they like kind of go to a somewhat normal life. In order to be Batman, you would have to be training for the some Olympian event every fucking day of your life, while also going out at night and brutally fighting crime with your body. Like, I don't give a fuck if you got a Batmobile or not. I guess that's just not really possible, is it?
I don't think that level of sustained effort is possible. You know, like
That's why Grant Morrison's Batman Inc. was such an interesting idea, because it's
franchise
like,
it.
you franchise that shit, you know, and that's how the whole world is like, he was here. It's just like you keep people guessing.
I remember watching Ninja Warrior like really early on, when it would be on like G4 or something. They would import it, and there was this one athlete, Makoto Nagano, who is the closest I've ever seen to Batman, in that his body did whatever he told it to. And he never seemed to break a sweat. He never seemed to be out of breath. Motherfucker's got to climb a rope that's 50 feet high, does it. Gets to the top, moves on to the next thing. Lift this thing that's 100 pounds. Swing over here, climb this, hold on with your fucking fingernails, hang upside down. All of this shit never seemed like he was tired, and did it over and over and over again. And that's the closest I've ever seen to a human being who was Batman. Now that he doesn't compete anymore, because doing that at that level will break your spirit and wreck your body.
Right.
But Batman, like, crazy goes a long way. Crazy's the fuel when food doesn't do it.
There it is. You won, man. Grab some tickets.
No, I
or whatever you want. Where are we going next? JC's got us on the other side.
Hey!
Hey!
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
How you guys doing tonight?
So good.
Awesome.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. I actually have a question for both of you, more on the psychology portion of the podcast that you mentioned about Batman, pretending to be Batman, and how it affects kids. Now, I know we talked about how that doesn't really draw really for adults necessarily, but what if it did? How would that be brought out? What would be some good ways to do that? Because I find that, you know, we read these comics, we read these stories, we watch these movies, and we feel better somehow. And I feel like the kids, in some small way, the reason why they were successful at being on task was because they wanted to be someone else. And I feel like that's almost innate in almost everybody, that we want to be someone else other than ourselves. So how do we channel that so that we can actually stay on task or complete task?
Number one, fucking great question. Number two, you take it. That sounds incredibly smart.
I think that we all sort of do that anyway. Like, what do they say? Like, dress for the job you want, not the job you have. You know, the like actors, whenever you talk to them, they'll say, you know, I didn't really feel a character until I put on the wardrobe, until I got in the suit, until I wore the raiments of glory. You know, like, I think that we are very much, I guess, propelled by the way we feel about the way we look. And I think that there is a psychological twist that happens. Oh,
turn the other way, but you were.
There we go.
It was a
So
solo
I was
show
drifting.
for a minute there.
I was just drifting.
You were
But
drifting.
yeah, like, I think that what we wear helps determine how we treat the world and how we treat ourselves in the world. So yeah, I mean, sometimes it's a small thing. Sometimes it's a lucky charm. Sometimes it's a uniform.
Now
you put
you're
on.
fucking drifting in the other direction.
Where do you want me to go,
Just
man?
fucking plant, dude. Plant.
I feel I gotta own the space a little bit.
You are. You're taking a lot of the space. You're claiming the crease.
No, but I think that's part of it. Am I good?
You're good.
Okay, thanks. Just making sure. But yeah, that what we wear can help determine the way we look on our day. If we look at ourselves in the mirror and like the way we look, we act a different way.
That's true. Some of us believe we're hockey players.
And I think that there is, and for some people like Einstein only ever wore the same suit because he didn't want to waste the brain space in deciding what to wear every day. And that for him was a uniform. And that uniform he felt smart. And that uniform he felt like he could do almost anything because he didn't have to waste time thinking about other shit. I think there's little ways that we can use that aren't quite as magnificent as a kid dressed as Batman. Or I also heard a story about this little girl who was afraid to fly until she put on like an Amelia Earhart outfit. Like, so she had the air goggles and the fucking leather hat and the
Why would that
jockers.
make her less afraid to fly? That's like the most famous non-flyer in history. She fucking disappeared.
She flew off into the sunset. But yeah, she felt like if anything went wrong with the plane, that she could maybe help. And that let her get on a flight. That let her travel across the ocean. It's the little things. For adults, I think it is again I feel a little bit better about myself in these shoes, or I really like the cut of this suit, and that.
Or hey,
helps.
these jorts are awesome.
Look at the room I have in these jorts. And sometimes it's like, hey, if you're losing weight and suddenly the thing you're wearing feels a little bit baggy, you feel a little bit better, like you're making progress, you're doing something, and helps to push you further down that road to success. I think for adults, it's the little things, and if you do enough little things. I think it can amount to something. That's a theory based on nothing more than an article I read one time.
You want tickets? Hell yeah, you want tickets.
Hell yeah.
Well done. Give it up for them, folks. They want some tickets. Smoke a bowl with me after the show.
Yes, me and my boyfriend, it's his birthday. Well,
Oh my God. Happy birthday.
it's his birthday on the 4th.
On the 4th. I would love to say yes, but I got to drive after this. And if I smoked a bowl before I drove. Oh my God. Free weed? Absolutely. Take more tickets. Thank you. Great question. All right, JC, where are we going? Has that been 3 or 4? 4?
We got,
Hey,
that was 2.
I just want to say, like, the one thing I think impresses me the most about both you guys is just the attitude of, like, you don't wait for permission, just make something.
Well, in art, not like in life and shit like that. Always
some
wait
shit
for a
you
yes.
absolutely need to ask
on
for.
a lot of things.
Not referring to procreation, no. Just whether it's the comic books or Clerks or this podcast, just get it done however you can and get the story out there. And I'm making comic books with my stories because I wanted to do TV, and for years I was like, but I have to have an agent, and it's like, no, I just have to tell the story.
Bang.
And one of the things I'm running into is people don't show up for work to do the art. And I was wondering, how do you motivate, especially comic book artists, to treat it like a professional job and finish the work? Because I love these stories and they're great, and I'm not sure I have the magical will of Batman to just make everything happen. And what do I do? That's my question.
I mean, I always go to they say humans always err on the side of what is easiest. So in my world, if that's my equation, I just go get a different artist. Like rather than try to like, hey man, get on board. It's like it's much easier to start with somebody who's passionate than to fire somebody's passion up if they're not hitting the mark for you. And it's not just like they may have life. Life gets in the way. They're like, I'm doing all this other shit. So I would err on the side of like, hey man, thanks for the effort, but I gotta make this happen. And I know I'm the person that I need a motivator. I need a battery. Otherwise, I'm just a guy like everybody else. Like I got a lot of great ideas, but I never get to put them into play unless there's somebody I can turn to be like, can you build the infrastructure? Can you actually make this happen? Scott Mosier did that for years for me. Jason's wife, Jordan, currently does it, Jordan Monsanto. Whenever I'm just like, hey, I need to do this, she kind of builds it and stuff. So for me, I try to find the most powerful, useful person I can and buddy up to those people, and then I don't hit road bumps like that. But in this very specific instance of an artist who's not working on your schedule, maybe it's time to get a different artist. That's what I would do. But
I get that. Life happens, and I'm sympathetic to that. But
Are they
like you,
paid or no?
oh yeah, of course.
That's a weird one then.
And I just keep having, oh yeah, I'll do that tonight. I'll do that this weekend. I'll do that next week. And that seems to be where I'm at, and I don't really know where to go.
Yeah, I mean, that's a rough one because most of the times if you're doing sort of small press comics, you're all doing it for free. You do it because you love it. And passion is how you make that sort of stuff go. That's the juice for that. Not crazy, but passion. But if you're paying a dude and he's not doing a job, then you fire that dude and you pay somebody else. And if you can't find somebody who will do the work for money, then I mean, maybe and I don't want to say like whatever you're doing might not be the thing that's attracting them, but there's artists out there who do way more work than I'm sure you're asking for free, you know. And there's got to be somebody out there who'll do it for money, even if it's the worst thing in the world. Not saying that it is, but I mean, I wrote for DC for a while, and some of that stuff wasn't great. I wrote for Marvel for a while. Some of that stuff wasn't great. Some of the big two work is not great, but you get paid and you do the work, you know. So like if you're doing something that you're passionate about, and if the person can't feel that passion and doesn't want that money, then find somebody else.
But for now, you win some fucking tickets. Where are we going next, JC? One set or there's a Buffy statue. There you go. 40X, that's the way. Where are we going? Hey! Verizon.
So with how
Can you
DC's
hear me now?
doing, yes. That guy went to Sprint. Fuck him.
That's true, he left. Was it a big deal when he left?
We didn't want to pay his contract anymore. They actually paid him to not work.
We're getting some inside fucking dope, man. That's good to know.
They paid him to not do any more acting stuff. And then when that contract was done, he went straight to Sprint.
What do you know about the progressive lady?
Nothing.
You seem to have all the inside gossip.
You got all the
corporate
spokespeople.
So with how Justice League's doing in the theaters, do you think they released the Snyder version for home?
Great question. You win tickets instantly for that because it allows us to talk about this. There's a petition online with something like 250,000 signatures saying put out the Snyder cut. I think it's ridiculous not to. Like, show the movie, sell the version of the movie that people are familiar with theatrically, wait 6 months, and then fucking hit them with the Snyder vision. Because it's not like, what's the worst that can happen? Everybody's like, you fucked up. And Warner Brothers is like, yeah, I guess. But it's in their rear view. They're working on something else. So it's just another stream of revenue for them. I think it'd be batshit crazy, pun intended, for them to not put out Zach's vision, which I read an article about. Thank you for bringing it up. And I fucking saved it on my phone. God damn it, I hope it's there still.
Was it the director of photography?
No, it was a breakdown of what's missing from the movie. Everything. Read Zack Snyder's version and all deleted scenes. Oh, come on. Don't freeze up on me now. Oh, my God. Hold on. Yeah, fuck. Hold on. Here we go. Okay, read Zack Snyder's version and all. I'm not going to read you the script, but these scenes were done before reshoots and were shown to WB executives. Let me see. AKA the writer says the idiots who don't appreciate art. I mean, it's the piece comes from Superhero Talk site. So WordPress.com. So obviously it's written by Haroon Sharif, and he's got opinions, to say the least. But most importantly, we're not here for the opinions. We're here for what he knows. He said the opening was longer. Began with Bruce recruiting Aquaman. It was basically the same scene in the theatrical version. However, some lines were added by Whedon and some Zach bits were cut. Aquaman was originally more resilient and shut off to Bruce here. Deleted. Barry Allen saving Iris West by breaking the glass. Remember that shot of him poking through the glass? Apparently there's a whole fucking scene of him saving Iris West, meeting Iris West. Gone. Longer. History lesson, but just by some bits. What I was most surprised by, the author says, was what WB cut out dialogue by the Green Lantern, Zeus, and Ares. Yes, Ares was there too. So on the battlefield, when they flashed back and shit, that Green Lantern said something, and so did Zeus and so did Ares. They cut all that shit. They had a couple lines each, as did Robin Wright, who was in the movie, and Hippolyta as well. Hippolyta we saw a bunch
credited.
of.
Like Robin Wright's credited.
Even though she's nowhere to be seen in the movie. Well, they shot it. They just kept the action in and clicked out all the dialogue. Deleted. After taking the mother box from Themyscira, Steppenwolf actually talks to the box. His mother, Hegra's essence, is alive in the mother boxes, and bringing them all together would unleash her powers, finally giving Steppenwolf an edge over his uncle, Darkseid. That is what his plan was originally. I thought for sure they would keep that scene because they used dialogue from that scene in the trailers where he said, "No protectors here, no lanterns, this world will fall." It was part of that scene, but they cut that out. Deleted. Cyborg's previous life. He plays a great football match that his mother attends. Afterwards, they drive home. Victor is angry that his dad never made it. While his mother tries to console him, Victor just keeps getting angrier and lashing out, loses control of the car, causes a fiery crash. So that's how he got injured, and his mom got killed in the process. Longer. The Gordon scene up on the roof had a little setup that I didn't see in the theatrical version. Gordon dismisses a junkie and tells him to get better at life before another cop comes to him with drawings of the parademons. Remember when he said that? Mm-hmm. And he said when he first met Wonder Woman, he asked if she's the same woman he keeps seeing reports in London about. And then he asked Cyborg, "How do you eat? Do you even need to?" And they cut all that. Deleted. After the attack on Atlantis, Aquaman consults with Mira and Volko. So what's his name? Willem Dafoe is playing Volko. They had a whole fucking scene where they talk about what they should do next. Mira wants Arthur to stay as king because she, quote, doesn't trust Orm. So they fucking name-dropped Orm, and they cut that shit out. Volko wants him to do what his heart says. Aquaman confesses that he feels a responsibility to help the people of Earth. So there's some more backstory on Atlantis other than him going, "Well, I'm going to need something from you," which I guess is the suit of he was wearing or the Quindent or whatever.
Yeah.
It wasn't a trident, though. It has 5... So was that a
Pentadent?
Pentadent or something? Quindent, right? Okay, deleted. The League visits the Batcave. Alfred has humorous reactions to the League. So Alfred, like, just going, oh shit, they cut all that. Bruce Wayne talks about a nightmare he had. He believes that Steppenwolf will try to resurrect the power of Superman, and then they must do it first unless they want to fight an evil Kryptonian too. So they were beating Steppenwolf to reviving Superman, which makes a lot more sense, doesn't it? Change. Superman's resurrection was only possible because Cyborg detects foreign genetic material in his DNA, a.k.a. the Codex. Remember the Codex from Man of Steel? That was playing as part of the plot. That's gone. This is the final confirmation needed that Superman can be brought back to life after all. Then the revival happens pretty much the same. Deleted. This is in the middle of the fucking movie. Ready for this? Deathstroke breaks Lex out of prison. Why the fuck would you cut that out? Oh my God, I question everybody's sanity. They part ways because the cops are hot on their trail, deciding to meet up later at a location they discussed, which was the PS scene on the fucking boat. Deleted. Kent Farm. Now this sounds like they butchered the shit out of this. Superman brings Lois here. However, he is still very confused after he wakes up, not knowing what's happening. Bystanders are looking at him and clicking his photo. This confuses him further, and he actually tries to attack the civilians with laser eyes before Lois manages to calm him down. Superman tells her that the voices won't shut up. Later, Martha shows up, and she does a version of her. Remember, she did in Man of Steel, where she's like, "You're on an island. You hear the sound of my voice." She talks him down again, which ties in to the other fucking movie. They took out all the shit that tied back, which I think was, like, that's part of the vision. It makes me a little mad. Kevin Costner was also in the movie. Pa Kent was also on the fucking farm in some fantasy sequence. They cut that shit out. Pa Kent talks about embracing who you really are and says, "You know what, maybe you could have saved me after all." No, I just added that part.
Also, there's plenty of room on this door, Jack.
He tells Clark that you have to make peace with who you are. You have the power to change the world, and you could do that as anyone, good character or bad. Clark finally embraces Superman as part of him when Lois walks out. Clark confirms their engagement. Lois breaks down because she wasn't strong enough. Then Martha comes out, too, as Clark decides to help the League, and he flies off. That's how it happened in the version they saw. Deleted. Clark heads up to meet Alfred and get his suit. Remember the fucking shot from the trailer where Alfred's like, thank God you're here. Let's hope you're not too late. That's what it was. He came to get his fucking suit. That's gone. Deleted. Steppenwolf's second conversation with Hegra. Now that he has all 3 mother boxes, her return to this world can begin. So she actually speaks at that point. 14, they said, changed. Bruce's conversation with Diana after Superman returns. Diana comes in to pop Bruce's shoulder and tend to his injuries. Remember that? Bruce reveals that he's willing to die to save the world. In fact, that he deserves to die because of what he's done. He's killed people, and nothing, not even his hate for Superman, can justify killing like that. Holy shit, man. Like, that's something every Batman fan wanted to hear based on Superman and Batman v Superman, where like, he's killing motherfuckers and branding them like crazy. So they actually made up for it, but boom, that got stripped out. Diana tells him he's changed now, but Bruce remains adamant that he can only atone himself by sacrificing his life. Changed. Bruce's Batmobile is heading to certain death before the finale when Wonder Woman and Aquaman interfere and save his life. They tell him that dying in battle won't do anything and he must live to keep the fight going. So we had a suicidal, crazy fucking Batman who was like, I gotta make up for being such a shithead in the last movie. And they cut it out. Alternate ending, we were shown, this guy said he saw a version of the movie. Cyborg tries to separate the mother boxes while Hegra keeps trying to talk him away. Furious, Steppenwolf grabs Cyborg and rips him apart, essentially killing him. That's not in the movie. Didn't he rip him, though? I saw him, like...
Pulls his leg off.
Pulls his leg off.
Yeah.
In this version, he just fucking shredded him.
And this woman is nodding in the corner because this is probably the same version that she saw.
This is the version that you saw a long time ago?
That she couldn't talk about last week because there's NDAs and shit. This motherfucker's all over the web.
I promised them I wouldn't talk today, but yeah, lots of that stuff was in there.
That's the version that you saw. Fuck,
I saw
man.
that, and I saw the other version too.
The one that's out now?
Yes.
And in terms of seeing them both, what do you think?
I like the first one better.
I mean, at least it's all one vision, right? That's, again, they should put out that fucking movie. Changed. Superman joins the fight and teams up with the League to defeat Steppenwolf. However, at one point, Steppenwolf tries to tempt Superman into joining his army. Ready for this? This made me so fucking angry. And we see Darkseid for the first time in Superman's vision, and we see flashes of the nightmare footage that Batman had in Batman v Superman. However, Superman snaps back out of it and delivers the final blow to defeat Steppenwolf. Was that in the version you saw? You saw Darkseid?
Yes, there was a dark side in there.
What did it look like?
Kind of like the finish, but not really.
Not fully finished.
No, like dressed in a suit, kind of.
God damn it. Deleted. Steppenwolf is killed by Darkseid on Apocalypse.
That
You
I
didn't
did
see
not
that? Darkseid intends to come to Earth to meet the Kryptonian, he says. You remember they were talking about doing 2 Justice Leagues?
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you, part 2 was going to be fucking this. Now we're finding out they were setting it up for Darkseid. Deleted. Aquaman meets Mira off the village coast and agrees to come back. Barry steps into the library. Iris smiles at him. So there was a little PS with everybody. Deleted. Bruce and Barry place Victor's body in the Batcave. Bruce comments that his organic tissue is dead, but it may be possible to reignite his mechanical parts. Barry promises to help however he can. So fucking, did Cyborg die in your version?
No.
He didn't die in your version. Deleted. Lois introduces Perry White to Clark Kent, a.k.a. Superman. So he was in the movie as well. And the original after-credits scene that was shot in principal photography was Bruce being woken in the night in his lake house by a green light. I'm with you. Fuck it. By a green light and being visited by Tomar Ray and Kilowog. Holy fuck. It was cut early on during post. Come on, man. So that right there, like, yes, I think they should release that version, even if it's unfinished, even if they're like, I think this public is educated enough to be like, look, it's an unfinished film. They're not going to give us it's not going to look like a big budget movie. Some shit's going to be in final stages. They could even put in like storyboard frames if they have to. But let people see that version. Clearly the dude had a vision. It sounds like it tied in well with Man of Steel and with Batman v Superman. Like each one that seemed like they tried to course correct along the way. And I know it wasn't originally conceived as a trilogy, but they kind of got it to be one, it sounds like, until the Joss Whedon stuff. Which again, I'm not shitting on the Joss Whedon stuff. I love that fucking Wonder Woman lasso scene, and that's only there because of that guy. But that shit sounded like a DC comic fan's wet dream, man. That they're like, here's Darkseid, motherfucker. You know, oh my God. Now I'm angry. Anyway, do you think they'll release it?
I think they absolutely release it. I mean, I have 8 versions of Evil Dead 2 at home. And if they keep releasing those motherfuckers every like 4 years, 10th anniversary, 50th anniversary, 20th anniversary.
Yes.
I have a box set with 4 different versions of Brazil in it that Criterion put out years and years ago.
I got about 19 Terminator 2s.
So,
Metal boxes, wooden boxes, fucking no box whatsoever, man. Like, I got every version of that DVD. They can get money out of these people. Honestly, they could be pricks about it, too. They're like, it's going to be $100. We'd be like, fine, I'll fucking pay it. Fuck you, give me that.
Yeah.
And then bitch about it on the internet.
Because I think that, you know, again, I have no idea what the thought processes were beyond Joss having to realize that we were not going to do Justice League 2, so you've got to cauterize this movie here. And so if we're never going to get to see Darkseid, don't even tip to Darkseid.
But he does say Darkseid in the movie.
He does, one time, like kind of passing. You know, like I don't know what kind of decisions went into that process, but given that the theatrical cut is out, you've done the job you were supposed to do, which is make this palatable to the masses. Now, yeah, for $100, the fans would buy this.
Right? And they could see what kind of support that it gets. You definitely win some tickets for that. You know, we got a lot of content out of that.
I don't think it's the first thing out. I don't think it rolls out with the theatrical release.
Right.
But I think that, you know, a couple months after, like next Christmas, you absolutely find the fucking hardcore Zack Snyder vision.
We got one more set of tickets left.
You got a Richard Donner Superman cut years later. Why not do a Zack Snyder?
Excellent point. JC's pointing out, bar owner JC is pointing out that we finally did get the Dick Donner cut where you saw the gauntlet, all the shit that they cut out of the Superman movies. So, yeah, we finally got dicked. Well done. So maybe let's hope that they know that there's clearly a fan base. They've got a bunch of names on a petition. It would just be obstinate to not put out Snyder's vision. Again, it doesn't have to be finished. It's not like, I could see their argument being like, in order to show you his vision, we'd have to spend another 10, 15 million. I think this audience is totally fine with like, dude, I'll see storyboards. If a portion of it is storyboards, that's fucking fine. Just to see all that footage that they described that I just read about in that article, I don't care if it's like haphazardly put together with imagery of my mom fucking my father. I'm watching all of it. They can't unsell that to me. Shall we do one more for these tickets, then get out of here? Bop, bop, bop. Bop, bop, bop. Yes, the Green Lantern gets to ask a question. Ask away, my friend.
Thanks, brother. All right, so after all that, can you guys describe as writers and filmmakers, what would be your ideal sequel to the Justice League?
Wow. All right. Fair, that definitely gets you tickets. Here you go.
My man.
My sequel to the Justice League. I mean, we have to sequelize the one they did, not the one that was intended. The one that I saw in a theater. That means you can't really do Darkseid. I would probably. Last week I talked about like why can't they do Starro the Conqueror, and then they referenced Starro on Flash last week. Like Wally West came back, he was like, I fought a starfish from another planet. And I was like, so I honestly, like I talked about before that I love the Justice League story that Grant Morrison wrote years ago, Rock of Ages, which involves all the characters and you can take it in wonderful, weird directions. You could lose the whirligig, if you wanted, the Philosopher's Stone, which kind of starts the story. But I think doing that's the one I'd lean toward the most. But I bet you the real writer amongst us has a better idea.
You know, I don't know. There's a part of me that what was that Mark Waid story? Was it Tower of Babel?
Tower of Babel.
Tower of Babel.
That's where they came up with the idea of Batman's got files on everybody, right?
Right. Like that Batman knows how to kill everybody in the league, except for Wonder Woman because she has no weakness.
Right.
That's the story I want to see. I want to see Bruce Wayne, for some reason, indetermined, taking out the Justice League.
I mean, that's kind of what Batman v Superman was. He was well on his way. I fucking hate you. Martha! Oh, I fucking love you.
But yeah, like I feel like at this point I want internal threats, not external threats. I don't, again, ever need to see anybody talking to, chasing after, or questing for a box.
Yeah, no more boxes, man.
No more boxes. No more weird.
No more. If we just get all three together, we'll rule. Whatever the fuck. Like, it's been done.
We're changing the world to the world we want it to be. No, I want it to be personal.
I see. I think your idea is interesting, but now my appetite is whetted for a Legion of Doom movie. So I'd rather see them fighting not one threat, but fucking 9. Like 9 supervillains all in fucking costumes. That's how you put that franchise back on the right, man. Like you just go, look, we get it. You just want to see fucking live action versions of the comic book characters and cartoons you grew up with. Our bad. We thought we could tell you an adult story that was really depressing. I don't know what we were thinking. Here
with
you
a video
go.
game character in the middle of it.
Totally. It's like, just give us what we want, man. I can't tell you how fucking thrilled I was. As goofy as it was seeing Deathstroke wearing that big-ass costume and walking on the boat and shit, I was like, give me more of that, man. Give me an even goofier Black Manta costume. Give me fucking Toy Man, Solomon Grundy. Do the Legion of Doom from my childhood, man. Like, just put it all up there. I don't care if it looks like cosplay anymore. I just want to see live-action versions of the shit I love. There's a great cover story in Vanity Fair, which they threw a bunch of pictures up online today, of for the Marvel characters. So you get to see the whole fucking world laid out across their covers. But why did I bring it up? Fuck. There was something in the article I read that was really a salient point where I was like...
Was it the Russos talking about what DC needs to get it back on track?
No, they did?
Yeah.
What'd they say?
They need a Kevin Feige.
Yeah, everybody knows that. I thought they had the... I thought they had the secret sauce.
What?
Yeah, like, yeah, of course. Yeah, they do. They literally need Kevin Feige. But they said something in the article that was to the point, I guess, of what I was getting at. Fuck, I forget. But just serve the audience, man. Like, you know, like fan service. There ain't nothing wrong. If I'm DC at this point, I'm just like, here's your favorite. Oh, that's what it was. Like, I'm talking about, like, show me all the characters I love. They said in the article, I think it was Bob Iger said in the article, he's like, we're about to, like, they're promoting Avengers Infinity Wars, where it's looking more and more likely like we're going to lose some major heroes and stuff. And what they said was like, we've got fucking 2,000, 4,000 characters we haven't even touched in the Marvel library. So going forward, like, they're preparing you for, like, enjoy Iron Man because it ain't going to be Iron Man forever. Enjoy Thor, it ain't going to be Thor forever. And Captain America, like, we got a lot more toys to play with, and we're telling an ongoing fucking story, which on one level makes me sad because I'm like, no, I'll watch fucking Tony Stark read the fucking phone book. And in some of those movies, we literally do. But at the same time, I respect the, like, hey, let's put some stakes in. Let's keep this going for decades so that we're not rebooting. Like, I don't think Marvel ever reboots. I think they just keep telling more stories and introducing more characters, and I like that business model. You?
Yeah, I mean, that's what success lets you do. Success lets you lean into the success. It lets you keep doing the thing that you know is working, but finding ways to innovate. You know, not getting bored with it, not risking an audience, trying to, like, oh man, another one of these? God damn it. If this is like Thor 2, I don't want a Thor 3. And then you get Thor 3, you're like, oh shit, nothing like what I expected. I feel like DC first needs to get their feet. They need to get a solid foundation and give us a couple of adventures. Give us a couple of movies. Invest us in these characters beyond the fact that I have a built-in investment for Batman. Like,
and that's what it is right now.
That's what it is. They have to earn my money. And they are right now counting on my proclivities for this stuff. They know we're going to go.
Right.
They are not earning my attention. And once they start doing that, then you can get deep cuts. Then you've got an audience by the brain, by the heart. Do whatever the fuck you want once you have them there.
They got to be careful that they don't Batman Wonder Woman as well. Like, you know, Batman, they're like, oh shit, this works. Let's fucking do it to death. And since we love Batman, we don't really bitch. But they got to be careful they don't do that to Wonder Woman as well. Like, they caught lightning in a bottle and shit, and they're not just going to, like, beat it to death. Hopefully they service the character insanely well. Right now, character and Patty Jenkins are tied together wholly, right. And that's the way it should stay.
You know, but, like, the Berlanti-verse did that work. Like, they got us on board with those versions of these characters to the point where you can do, you know, the Black Mercy stuff. You can do fucking Martian Manhunter. You could do what they're doing this week, which is a Crisis on Earth X. They're doing a crossover
across all the CW shows. Started tonight on Supergirl, continued on Arrow, and then tomorrow night it's on Flash and Legends of Tomorrow, telling one story about them fighting Nazi versions of themselves and stuff.
Yeah, like once we care, we'll go down a long fucking road with you. And the road's going to be windy and weird and fucked up, and you're going to stop at places you never would have stopped at. You would buy shit you'd never buy. You'd eat stuff you hate, but you kind of like it because, wow, I'm fun on this fucking road trip. But unless you invest me in that, everything's got to be fucking vanilla. And that's where they are now.
It's true. When you think about it, too, it's like if you do it right, if you crack a formula, you can go forever. Like that Supernatural show, I think they're in their 40th season. And it's like a quiet stealth killer. It's like it has a hardcore ardent audience that has taken it past like 10 seasons into what, 11, 12 at this point? 13 fucking seasons, man. That's like, take a page out of those people's books. If I was DC, I'd be like, how do you fucking create brand loyalty over 13 years? Clearly these people know what they're doing. Put them on these fucking movies.
I mean, Smallville went for what, 11?
Yeah.
You know, like if you give people something that they can reliably turn into and get what they're expecting to get and feel good about it, feel rewarded by it, they will follow you forever.
I know, and we make it sound so easy, like we've ever done it. We haven't, but it seems easy. You know what I'm saying? From the outside, as people who enjoy this shit, when you analyze it, it's like really it just comes down to the story. Like that's what Marvel Studio, and I hate to, we'll be doing this forever. But you hate to bring up, raise one and lower the other or whatever the fuck. But, Marvel Studios just understands, like, how to do it. Whereas right now, DC is kind of figuring it out, which is weird and frustrating because they owned this space for so long. Like in the 70s with Superman, in the late 80s, all through the 90s with Batman, in the aughts with fucking more Batman. And now we have these discussions where we're like, how can they catch up? How can they? And it seems weird, man.
Well, because Marvel realized, and I think some of it had to do with Joss, some of it had to do with Kevin, but these are soap opera stories at their core. And soap operas are the longest running form of entertainment in the world. General Hospital's been on the air for 70 fucking years.
Yeah, and they've all been fucking each other.
And they've been fucking each other, and there's vampires and ice princesses and laser beams and jewel heists, and who gives a shit? But because people get what they're looking for, you can twist that story any number of ways you want. For 50 years, those things have been on the air. If you follow a soap opera model and just, that guy's fucking that person, and that person's fucking that person, and that guy killed that person but is really in love with that person, and you just build that fucking story, you can add vampires if you want. But DC has yet to get us on that soap opera ride. They're not baiting the hook in the way we need to be baited to go down that road with them.
What a down note to go out on.
Hooray, superheroes, it's my birthday.
That's true. Yes, it is. And the show has gone on so fucking long, I believe it is literally the day of your birth at this point. It is the longest one I think we've done so far. You all have a good time this evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a wonderful show, and we got a wonderful home right here at Scum and Villainy. Give it up for JC and the folks here at Scum and Villainy. Give it up for the man I stand next to, man, who makes it so much fun and easy to talk about shit that we have no skin in the game whatsoever and can be very judgmental about. Mr. Marc Bernardin, ladies and gentlemen. And that is Fat Man on Batman for this week. I'm Kevin Smith.
I'm Marc Bernardin.
Tune in next week, same fat time, same fat channels, modcast.com or
youtube.com/Kevin Smith.
Good night, folks.
Peace out.